자, 오늘 할 게임은 슬레이 더 프린세스 공주를 죽여라 라는 스팀 비주얼 노벨 게임이고요. 흑기님의 한글 패치를 받아서 플레이하고 있습니다. 이 게임이 다회차 엔딩이 많은 게임인데 엔딩은 결과에 따라서 2개 정도 보도록 하겠습니다. 이 게임의 스토리는 당신은 공주를 처치하기 위해 이곳에 왔습니다. 그녀를 처치하지 않으면 세상이 멸망할 것입니다. 그녀는 수단과 방법을 가리지 않고 당신을 현혹할 것입니다. 잊지 마세요. 이 세상의 운명은 당신에게 달려 있습니다. 라고 하네요. 네, 어떤 게임일지 해볼게요. 시작. 공주와 영웅.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
웬 지하실의 공주?
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
왜 멸망하지? 멸망? 그게 무슨 소리지? 애초에 공주를 가둬놨기 때문에 공주가 세상을 끝장내려는 거 아니야? 아무리 그래도 공주를 죽이다니 너무 심하잖아. 나 말고 다른 사람에게 맡길 수 없는 거야? 안 할래. 내가 세상이 끝장난다 해도 신경 쓰지 않을 거란 가능성은 생각 안 해봤어? 뭐야, 왜 이렇게 많아? 이 일에 보상 같은 건 없어? 아, 그렇군. 설명해줘서 고마워. 조용히 오두막에 간다는 뭐야? 한번 물어보지. 멸망.
I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her.
이유는 딱히 설명 안 해주네? 그 말에 증거는 있어?
Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey.
아니, 그게 이유가 되나? 잠깐만. 공주가 왜 위험한지 설명하지 않는다면 난 죽이지 않겠어.
She's not dangerous. She's just a princess. The danger comes if she gets out, which she will unless you do something about it.
공주가 탈출하면 어떻게 되지? 자세한 설명이 필요해. 이거 한번 해보자.
The more specifics you have, the harder it will be for you to do this very important job. She's a princess. People will listen to her because listening to her is in their nature. And when they do, everything will come crashing down.
딱히 뭘 알려주진 않아. 일단 오도방에 가서 공주와 대화해보겠어. 만약에 정말 공주가 내 말대로 사악하다면 내가 공주를 죽일지도 모르지. 하지만 직접 만나보기 전엔 아무것도 단정 지을 생각이 없어. 한번 이렇게 해보자.
Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us.
저장 한번 해보자.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
오두막에 들어간다. 오두막에 한번 들어가봐.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade.
이미 칼이 있는데?
The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
일단 칼 들고 가.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it.
지하실에 들어가.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
아, 목소리가 들려?
Who's there?
오,
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
그냥 괜찮은지 보러 왔어. 안녕, 널 죽이러 왔는데. 안녕. 뭐야, 널 죽이러 왔는데는 좀 너무 대놓고 그런 느낌 아니야? 계단 내려가 그냥.
Good. You're still listening to reason.
뭐야,
You walk down
묶여있네.
the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
널 죽이러 왔어. 아니, 결정하지 않았어. 대화하러 왔을 뿐이야. 아직 결정하지 않았어.
How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us.
아, 근데 칼 내려놓으면 안 되지. 단단히 쥔다. 일단 칼을 내려놓지 마. 일단 세이브해.
You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me?
왜 두려워하는 게
Because
좋아?
you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
본인이 뭔가 위험한 존재인지는 알고 있나 보다.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this.
허풍이 아니라면 공주가 우릴 죽인다면 어떡하지? 비무장 상태인 게 확실한 거야? 미안, 대화할까? 단검을 떨어뜨릴 생각은 없어. 야, 공주를 그냥 죽일까? 마무리를 빨리 하려고 하니까 한번 죽여보자.
Doubt, unfortunately, clouds
뭐야,
your
망설임이...
thoughts as you attempt to
잠깐만.
run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she
뭐야?
needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw. It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured.
아니 무슨...
Holy shit, that hurt! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around.
마무리한다, 포기한다, 도망쳐서 공주를 지하실에 가둔다. 마무리해야지.
You and the princess stare at each other, both gasping for breath, equally exhausted. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can at least make sure that she won't make it out of here either.
근데 어차피 도망가도 죽을 것 같은데?
Excuse me? Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone is still standing right now. Can you not feel all those ruptured organs bouncing around in there? If the princess doesn't do our friend in herself, internal bleeding is certain to finish
야,
the job.
해설자 내 편 아니네.
The two of you clash for the final time. You feel your ribs break as she delivers a heavy blow,
칼로
being
찔렀네.
pushed through the pain, falling forward and sinking your blade deep into the princess's heart.
Oh.
The two of you fall to the floor.
아, 나도 쓰러졌어?
This was fun.
The princess gasps, her voice an unhealthy rasp as her lungs start to fill with blood.
You put up more of a fight than I thought you would. But I have to wonder, do you really think this is the end?
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die.
나 죽은 거야? 뭐야, 챕터 2? 뭐야, 어떻게 된 거니?
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
어떻게 된 거지?
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
그러니까 데자뷰잖아 이거. 난 죽었을 텐데 내가 왜 여기 있는 거지? 그녀가 또 날 죽일 거야. 난 공주를 이미 죽였는데, 물론 나도 공주에게 죽었지만 분명 죽였다고. 왜 내가 또 여기 있는 거지? 여기.
I can assure you that you're not dead. And to answer your second question, you're here to slay the princess. I
야,
literally
해설자,
told you that.
너 죽을래?
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
아, 모르는 채로 놔두는 게 좋겠다.
You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. That's fine. It doesn't matter if he can hear us. The only thing that matters is marching up to that cabin and winning. That's the spirit. There's no point in squabbling when the real threat is just up that hill.
그러면 공주가 무슨 능력이 있나 봐. 이 모든 일에 의미가 있긴 해?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me.
아, 그런가?
We did our best with the information we were given, and we did kill her. And yet you still died, didn't you? So congratulations, you've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We killed the princess killed us, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely?
오케이, 그러면은 해설자가 하는 대로 좀 한번 해보자.
What would have happened to everyone in the place you left? Ugh, enough with the talking. We've got a fight to win. Nothing else matters.
이 싸움꾼은 뭐야?
I couldn't agree more. The cabin and your destined confrontation with the princess awaits.
공주에 대해 이야기해보자. 아니야, 그냥 가봐. 아, 얘기해볼까?
Just be
궁금해.
quick about it.
지난번에 우리는 서로를 죽였어. 또 그런 일이 생기지 않으리라고 어떻게 확신해? 지난번에 공주가 한 짓이라곤 날 죽도록 팬 것뿐이야. 그런 사람이 어떻게 세상을 멸망시킨다는 거야. 지난번에 네 표현을 빌리자면 그녀는 그저 공주일 뿐이라고 했잖아. 그런 사람이 어떻게 날 죽도록 팰 만큼 강한 거지? 누가 그녀를 지하실에 가뒀지? 이곳은 대체 어떤 곳이야? 뭐 별로 궁금한 게 많이 없는데? 어차피 이건 다 의문투성이고 쟤가 설명해줄 수 있는 부분이 많이 없는 것 같고 일단 가자 그냥.
Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin.
돌아서서 떠난다는 뭘까?
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Lying and cheating doesn't sound like her at all. Not that it matters. It's not like she can lie or cheat in the middle of a fight. Are you sure about that? The point of my warning wasn't to start an argument over what circumstances the princess is capable of lying in. It was to give you some broadly applicable advice. The princess will do and say whatever she thinks it will take to get her out of there. So don't trust her. Ever. Are we clear?
Crystal, let's just get on with it already.
들어가.
The cabin is tighter than its
왜
exterior
바뀌었지?
would suggest. Its cold stone walls press in on you, as if trying to forcefully direct you towards your destination. The only furniture of note is a black iron altar with a pristine blade perched on its
왜
edge.
리모델링 됐어 여기?
See? Even the cabin has the right idea. Let's get moving.
The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
지난번과 다르군. 벽에 걸린 거울에 대해서 말하지 않았잖아. 거울 한번 가봐.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
거울을 닦는다.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But there was a mirror a second ago.
없어졌네?
And now it's gone, so all of us can stop arguing about it and get to fighting.
가져가.
You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a rough stone staircase, its walls pressing at your sides and tightening as you descend. The air seeping from below is heavy and oppressive, with an almost sulfuric odor to it. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor.
넘어가.
Her fierce voice carries up the stairs.
Is that another challenger? Finally.
잠깐만.
It's been ages since I've had a good fight.
아, 좀 싸웠던 거야?
This isn't what she sounded like last time. Her voice is a little deeper, almost threatening.
Good. Sounds like my kind of princess.
As much as I appreciate the enthusiasm, just make sure you don't let your bloodlust get to your head. You need to stay focused and keep your wits about you. Remember, you're here to slay the princess, not to have a good fight. As you descend the final
그래?
step,
뭐야?
the form of the princess comes
공주가
into
아니잖아.
view. A large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall. Looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought.
그러니까.
Oh, it's you again. I've been hoping you'd find your way back here.
공주는
Good
날
to see
알고
that
있네.
death doesn't stick for either of us. And you brought your little knife, too. Yes. I'm going to have fun breaking you into little pieces.
똑똑히 들었겠지. 해설자. 지난번과 많이 다르긴 하지만 이 모든 일이 확실히 일어났었어. 조금 달라졌군. 역시 날 기억하네. 난 널 풀어주러 왔어. 싸우러 온 게 아닌 건 아니지만 우리 사이엔 해결할 의문점이 있어. 왜 예를 들어 우리가 아직 왜 살아있는지 같은. 어떻게 된 영문인지 모르겠지만 거대한 악마녀와 싸울 생각은 없어. 안녕. 이거를 한번 물어보자. 나도 궁금해.
What is there to unpack? I was dead and now I'm not, and the same goes for you. There.
어이가 없네.
Unpacking done. Don't you get it? We've been given free rein to wail on each other. For
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, fine. I believe you. What? What you said earlier in the woods, I believe you. You've already met the princess, and the princess has already met you. That's all the more reason to take this seriously. You don't know that whatever brought the two of you back to life isn't a fluke. And beyond that, do you know who doesn't remember anything that happened last time? Me. I don't remember. Are you okay? Of course I'm not okay. As far as we're all concerned, the fate of my world is still very much on the line. Not all of us have the luxury of jumping over to a parallel universe the second we die.
널 거슬리게 하기 위해서 이제부터 더욱 진지하게 임할 거야. 내 무관심이 얼마나 큰지 보라고. 무슨 소리인지 모르겠고 난 죽은 적이 없어. 나를 봐. 이렇게 활기 넘치는데 죽었다니 그럴 리가. 걱정만 잘할 테니까. 들켰네. 내가 말한 게 전부 사실이야. 침묵을 유지한다. 널 거슬리게 하기 위해 진지하게 이걸 한번 해볼까? 아니, 잠깐만. 침묵을 유지해봐.
I'm going to take that silence as a sign that from this moment on, you're going to treat the task before you with the utmost importance and seriousness. I'm so glad that we're finally all on the same page.
조금 달라졌군.
You look exactly the same.
끝이야? 공주를 공격해.
Finally ready to complete your destined
너무
task,
세 보이는데?
you launch off the whetstone floor of the basement and catapult yourself headlong towards the princess. Here we go. Let's make this count.
Oh, we'll make it count all right.
As you bridge the gap, your blade slashes across the princess's chest, splitting skin and drawing a jagged line of bright red blood. But she's unfazed by your onslaught. Her expression barely changes as her fist collides with your ribs, cracking them like twigs
나
and
또 죽는 것
driving you
같은데?
right back down to the basement floor. You can hear her chains snap as you struggle to recover from the impact.
She almost looks disappointed in us. Why is she disappointed in us?
Oh, you don't actually get it, do you? That knife may be sharp, but you clearly don't want to kill me. It's not fun if you hesitate. It's not fun if you try to trick me and make me bleed out. It's only fun if you go straight for the heart. You need to put everything you have into seeing me dead. Or what's the point? So don't be afraid. Don't hesitate. Kill me.
Don't let her get in your head. Reincarnation or not, this world needs you to win.
She's huge, but that probably means she's slower than us. Take it slow, think it through, and don't panic. Bleeding her out is our best course of action. Don't listen to them. She understands something that they don't. The only way to win, the only way out of this is through her.
시끄러. 방심을 시키는 허를 찌른다. 정면으로 맞서 심장을 찌른다. 근데 방심을 할 것 같은 그런 분위기가 아닌데? 정면 돌파해야 될 것 같은데?
If that's your plan, then that's your plan. You push off the ground, ignoring the pain in your ribs as you charge at the princess once more.
안 될 것 같아.
You can feel flesh give way before a sudden
안
impact
되고.
blunts your momentum, your weapon tightly lodged in the bone of her arm.
Pull it out. We'll try a different angle. No, we can do this. Just keep pushing. We're not gonna win if our weapon's stuck in her arm.
계속 밀어붙인다. 단검을 뽑고 다른 각도로 공격한다. 젠장. 계속 밀어붙이는 거는 힘들지 않을까? 단검을 뽑고 다른 각도로 공격한다. 지금 내가 갈비뼈가 나갔단 말이야. 시간을 끌면 나한테도 되게 안 좋은데? 근데 밀어붙이는 것도 좀 아닌 것 같고. 다른 각도 가자.
You pull back on the blade's hilt, doing your best to free it
걔
from its sinewed
망했고.
prison. But as you tug the blade free, the princess slams you down onto her knee. It collides with your ribs, and you feel them splinter,
걔
cracking
망했다.
like wet wood from the impact. And you find yourself in midair. You hit the floor, your ribs complaining painfully, but you can feel the hilt in your grip. You still have your weapon. You push yourself off the ground and attack the princess, trying to bait an opening. You do your best to outplay her, slashing out and leaving red cuts in the tattered remains of her white dress. But you have little room to maneuver. For every glancing blow you manage to land, she slams you against the wall in retaliation, each impact threatening to be the last.
This weak little dance isn't working. Just toughen up and
힘이 없다고.
overpower her. She's throwing us around like a ragdoll, I think overpowering her is a little out of the question.
Did you think you could stop me with a few cuts? All this dancing around is doing nothing but annoying me. I own this place, and I own you.
진짜 그런 거 같아.
The princess's arm shoots forward, her palm wrapping around your head, fingers gripping your skull.
How disappointing.
설마.
She squeezes, the pressure unbearable as her fingers dig into your scalp. The last thing you hear is the unsettling crack of your skull and the sickening churn of what was your grey matter.
뭐야, 죽은 거야?
Everything goes dark, and you die.
씨, 죽었네. 바늘구멍.
You're on a path in the wood. If you weren't so damned afraid of what she'd do to you, we wouldn't have died back there.
아, 다시 부활했네.
Fear is good. Fear keeps us alive. We died because you
사냥감은
didn't have
뭐야?
enough of it. So what? You'd have us cower in a corner? No, but that place suits her better than it suits us. She's big. We can't hope to find holes and openings down there. We need more room if we're going to survive. Are you suggesting luring her into the woods? Do you have any idea how dangerous that would be? If you lose sight of her, if she manages to slip away, that's it. Game over for everyone, yourself included. Are you not challenging us on all the looping? Have you known about it the whole time? Are you the same one we've been talking to since the beginning?
그러니까 지금 다 알고 있는 것처럼 얘기하네.
Sorry to disappoint what I'm sure must feel like a grand revelation, but that's not what's going on here. We've never met. Then what is going on? What's going on is that you'd only be saying the things you've been saying if you'd already been here, and if you'd already seen things you weren't supposed to have seen. It doesn't matter. We could go in circles forever. I don't like staying still for too long. Let's get to the cabin, see this through.
애들이 뭔가 감을 알고 있네.
It's good to know that at least one of you is still capable of reason. We may have the same destination, but we're not the same. You are still an other, and I don't trust you. Well, fortunately, you have an entire trip through the woods to reconsider that. There's nothing to reconsider. We're all for violence here. Are we? I haven't signed off on anything yet. Violence is the answer here, but the method is equally important to the act. You can't let her leave the cabin. It's like I said, all just circles. Instinct tells me we need space, and I trust instinct. Nothing else to say. Not for me.
이곳이 얼마나 달라졌는지 아직 얘기하지 않았잖아. 여긴 숲이라고 하기도 어려워. 공주의 영향이 세상으로 퍼져나온 것 같아. 내가 그 계획에 동의하지 못한다면, 내가 다른 걸 한다면, 무슨 일이 생기건 간에 정답은 오두막에 있는 모양이군. 가보자. 이젠 질렸어. 안녕. 이걸로 한번 해보자. 어쨌든 오두막에 가야 돼.
It isn't long before you find yourself at the end of the path, staring up the hill at the cabin. No last advice for us? No words of warning? From what I gather, you've heard it all before. There's no use screaming into the wind. I don't know. Screaming sounds pretty good right about now. I could use a little catharsis. Catharsis is what I think. For now, we need to hold it out in front of us. Something to chase.
오두막에 들어가.
The interior of the cabin
뭐야,
is
이것도?
suffocatingly tight. More of a glorified tunnel than a building. Its stone walls squeeze against your sides, leaving you no choice but to press forward. The only furniture of note is an iron altar jutting out from the wall, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right.
어떻게 된 거야?
See? We have even less space than before. We need space or she'll kill us. And the only... Take it!
앞으로 갈 길이 없어. 방 끝엔 거울이 놓여져 있고 그게 끝이야. 이거 한번 해보자.
Maybe it'll go away again. For something to go away, it would have to be there to begin with. And let me assure you, there's no mirror here.
The only thing at the end of the room is the door to the basement. No use arguing. Mirror or not, we need to be there. The why we pick doesn't matter.
I agree with the freak. Let's get a move on already, and worst comes to worst, we can smash it.
일단 거울 한번 봐봐.
We can try to survive without our steel claw, but you've marked us as easy prey. You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it, as if you don't see it. You're rather committed to the bit, aren't you? The door's right there, it's right in front of you.
This really is just like last time.
It smells of nothing, yet it's still there.
부순다.
You bring your fist crashing down against the door leading to the basement.
어?
It swings open, scraping against the floor as it reveals the dim path ahead.
Why am I not surprised? It was in our way, and now it's not. That's all that matters.
Before you
잠깐만.
is what may as well be a
칼,
sheer
야, 칼 안
cliff face.
가져갔어.
There are enough footholds that you'll be able to clamber your way to the bottom, but it will require careful
아, 야,
effort.
거울 보다가 칼 안
The air
가져갔잖아.
hissing up from below is warm and wet, like the breath of an enemy locked in close quarters.
If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor.
Her voice, bold and fierce and impatient, echoes from the chamber below.
Do you have more fight in you than last time? That was such a disappointing show. I know you can do better than that.
Goad her, rile her up. If she's angry, she'll make mistakes.
화나게 만들어? 싸우고 싶어 그럼 이쪽으로 와서 덤비는 게 어때? 혼자 힘으로 빠져나갈 수 있는 거 알아. 아, 밖으로 조금 유인할 수 있나 그러면? 한번 얘기해보자.
That's not how this works. I'm all chained up, remember? How about you come down here and fight me?
Those chains were nothing to her last time.
There'll be nothing to her this time. But we need to show ourselves first to make her boil over.
Fine by me.
아, 뭐야.
You've nowhere to go but down. You start the difficult journey, gripping the stone, lowering yourself foot by grueling foot. But soon, there is solid ground beneath you. Remember, every crack and crevice will need to be faster than her.
틈새와 갈라진 곳.
You turn to face what lies at the end of
그냥
the
죽을
narrow
것 같은데?
tunnel. The princess, imposing and tightly muscled, grins back at you from the darkness. Her face droops.
There you are. But this time you don't even have that little knife. Do you think this is a joke? Do you need me to break those fragile bones again to remind you how serious this is?
She's bubbling, hot with rage. We can't get close if we want to live.
어,
But we'll be
칼을 안
able to
들고 오니까
draw her out
화내네.
here. She's hungry for us. I know I said this earlier, but I really have to stress how thin of a razor's edge you're on right now. We know. The only way out is through the eye of the needle.
And we're going to win.
We'll need the steel claw. Grab it as we leave.
아, 나가는 길에 챙길 수 있다.
Bloody desire in her eyes, the princess rushes forward, ignoring her chains as they bend and snap.
Run.
Without hesitation, you turn back the way you came and scramble up the ledge towards the tunnel entrance. As you near the top,
어, 뭐야?
hands desperately clawing at jagged stone, you glance back. The princess is right on your heels. She doesn't bother to scale the wall as you do, instead digging deep into the rock of the cliff face with her fingertips in her rabid pursuit.
Anywhere you go, I will follow.
Good.
You reach the ledge and hoist yourself up into the tunnel, the cabin door finally in sight, at once within your grasp and infinitely distant.
What is all of this for? What's the point? You and I are always going to end in violence, so why bother to run? I know what I am. Why can't you be the same?
Steel Claw, now.
단검을 챙긴다. 너무 늦었다. 문으로 도망간다. 아니 어차피 나가는 길인데 챙겨 그냥.
Without missing a step, you grab the blade from the altar.
So you do want to fight me? Good.
We're almost there. Don't think about almost. We're there when we're there. And we'll take the fight with us. Your skin hums tight with adrenaline as you burst through the cabin door and roll onto the grass. You glance back at the cabin as the princess, singular in her desire to destroy you, explodes through the doorway. You are walking a dangerous path. If you waver once, it's all over. So get it right.
There's nothing left to slow me down. Do you think this is better for you? Do you think this space gives you an edge? Then show me! Show me that you've been worth all the room you've taken up in my head!
Do it! Be swift, strike true, be where she's not. Let your body move you.
정말 싸우고 싶은 거야? 이제 넌 자유야. 게다가 바깥에선 내가 더 유리해. 하지만 꼭 싸울 필요는 없어. 나의 함정을 빠졌군. 뭐 나의 함정? 뭐 마땅히 함정에 빠진 것 같지도 않은데. 아니 잠깐만 뭐야? 의미가 딱히 없는데 대사가? 아니 이거는 잠깐 뭘로 하지? 나의 함정에 빠졌군.
Oh, we'll see about that. Traps aren't real. The only thing that's real is bloodshed.
She charges, fully determined to end you in a single move. Left, now. As the princess strikes, your body swerves to the left. She overextends, stumbling as her balance shifts unexpectedly. Strike. Before you can finish the thought, you lash out, the blade slicing through her leg. She turns to swing again. Right. You move out of the way, but this time it's not quite as clean. You can feel a bruise already blooming where her elbow crashed into flesh. It's nothing. A scratch. Yes, it could be worse. And you managed to gift her another cut in return. I'll be damned.
We're actually gonna pull this off, aren't we?
You just might, but don't let it get to your head. Not until it's over.
Yes, finally! This is the hole I've felt in my heart. This is what I've needed. This is what I've been missing.
아니, 왜
This is how it
그러는데요?
always needed to end. Both of us giving it our all, beating and bleeding each other to death.
The two of you engage in a devastating flurry of blows, each of you wounding the other again and again. She's stronger, but you're faster, and the deeper the both of you fall into your lethal dance, the more your edge shines over hers. She's slowing down, blood pouring from wounds, splattering at her feet, leaving her weak and unsteady.
왠지 죽일 것 같은데?
More! Keep going! We can't stop now! You spy an opening, but this time she's waiting for you. She lets you sink the blade deep,
뭐야?
trapping you in place long enough to wrap you in her
잠깐만.
impenetrable arms. You're slammed to the ground. Nothing! These blows are nothing to us! But her gambit wasn't enough to close the gap.
아 오케이.
It wasn't enough to kill you. She stares you down, coughing up a splash of blood as she gasps for breath.
You've outplayed me, haven't you? Something feels wrong. Something.
And? Then what happens?
뭐야? 어? 하지만 당신은 대답하지 못한다. 무언가가 그녀를 데려가고 그 자리에 무언가를 남겨두었다.
She's gone. Where does she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
그녀가 어디 갔는지 모르겠어. 그리고 어디서 찾아야 할지 몰라. 해설자가 사라졌어. 아무래도 거울을 들여봐야 될 것 같군. 거울을 한번 보자 빨리.
There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should. That thing reeks of death.
Screw the mirror. We just need to find the princess.
야, 거울한테 가보자.
I'm begging you, don't do this.
지금까지 거울을 보고 겁낸 적이 없었잖아.
It's different now. It feels, I don't know, final.
당신은 거울에 다가간다. 거울에 비친 자신을 바라본다. 손을 뻗자 침묵이 내린다. 모두들 사라졌다. 하지만 거울은 그대로 있다. 거울에 무엇이 있는지 확인할 때다. 뭐야? 당신이다. 당신은 텅 빈 공간에 혼자 서 있다. 고요하다. 오두막에 간다. 당신은 오두방에 있다. 뭐냐 저거? 그녀에게 다가간다. 뭔가 각성한 것 같은데?
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel.
어떻게 된 거야? 너는 무엇이지? 연약한 그릇? 이것이 세상의 멸망이야? 네가 공주를 죽이라고 날 보낸 거야? 네가 날 여기 가둔 거야? 야, 질문이 엄청 많은데? 집합체를 공격한다. 스스로 몸을 파괴한다. 아니 이거 선택지가 미쳤는데요? 너는 뭐지?
I am solitary lights in an empty city. What are you?
뭐야 이거? 알 수 없는 대답? 고독한 빛. 난 내가 뭔지 모르겠어. 고독한 빛은 딱히 중요한 것 같지 않고 나에 대해서 물어보자.
I think that you are like me. We are oceans, reduced to shallow creeks.
알 수 없는 내용. 연약한 그릇.
Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one yearns to grow and struggle. Even now I feel a will pushing against mine, not realizing that we are one. She will make for a fierce heart.
아, 그러면 공주의 또 다른 모습이라는 건가?
Do not mourn her. We will provide her with the growth she fought for.
이게 세상의 멸망이야?
How can the world have ended if we are talking?
바깥 세상. 아니면 이거?
I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here, and I too yearn to be free.
그러면 집합체를 공격 한번 해볼까? 아니면 이제 어떻게 되지?
Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us.
우리가 존재하는 것은
and that we are
그곳에
meant to
도달하기
reach
위함.
them.
아,
There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that
많은
I may
그릇?
be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom.
내가 널 죽일 방법을 찾을까 두렵지 않아? 난 어디까지 잊어버리게 되지? 네 조각들을 얼마나 더 찾아야 하지? 난 공주가 세상을 파괴하는 것을 막기 위해 공주를 죽이라는 부탁을 받았어. 내가 널 도우면 이 세상을 파괴할 거야? 이것만 물어보고 나머지는 잊어버리면 될 것 같은데?
More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home.
내가 허락하지 않겠다면. 아니야, 그냥 이것까지만 물어보자.
You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold.
내가 널 도우면 어떤 걸 할 생각이지?
How can I know? I am flickers in something sprawling and unilluminated.
그러면은 그냥 잊자 이제.
She asks that I tell you to remember her.
그래.
You won't.
모든 것이 어두워지고 당신은 죽는다. 뭐야? 이렇게 다시 돌아가는 건가 봐.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
그러면은 아무리 그래도 공주를 죽이다니 심하지 않아. 이거를 얘기할 필요가 없지 않아 이제? 그냥 공주를 죽여서 그릇을 좀 얻어오면 되는 거 아니야?
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
그냥 잡아야 될 것 같은데?
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and
이게
walls are
내용은 똑같은
painted
것
in a
같아.
fine layer of
그냥
dust.
내가 결과를
The
조금
only
바꿔야 될
furniture
것
of
같은데?
note is a plain wooden table. The blade is your implement.
단검을 들고 가고 아니면은 단검을 들고 가야 될까?
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to her voice.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous.
이거를
It's almost as if don't let it fool you.
널 죽이러 왔는데 아니면 계단을 그냥 내려가.
Good. You're still listening to reason.
그 다음에 바로 찌르자
You
그냥.
walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
그러니까 꼭 죽여야 되는 것도 아닌 것 같기도 하고.
Focus on the task at
근데
hand.
지금까진 죽였으니까.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
다가가.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this.
단검을 떨어뜨려 볼까? 단검을 한번 떨어뜨려 봐. 어차피 첫 번째 챕터에서 내가 죽었잖아. 떨어뜨려.
The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you. Maybe now we
Oh.
can just talk.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
그래 참 어색하군. 관계 지금 날 유혹하는 거야? 뭐 유혹이야. 어떻게 해야 널 여기서 나가게 할 수 있지? 난 내가 세상을 멸망시킬 거라고 해서 왔어. 네가 세상을 멸망시키려 할 거라는 사람들이 있는데 거기에 대해 할 말 없어? 할 말이 있어? 이름이 뭐지? 여기 얼마나 오래 있었지? 내가 왜 널 죽이러 온 줄 알아? 이걸 한번 물어보자.
Don't just tell her that.
That's cute. Do you believe that? Do you think I'm some sort of monster? If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous?
네가 알려줄 거라 생각했는데. 아니 솔직히 말하자면 널 믿는 쪽으로 마음이 기울이고 있어. 이걸 한번 해보는 게 어때? 이거는 다 의심이니까 이쪽으로.
Sooner or later, you'll understand that I have your best interests at heart. Hopefully sooner.
How sweet. Now be a pal and help me get out of here, would you? We could figure out how to deal with them after I'm free.
생각을 바꿔서 난 널 믿지 않아. 결정하기 전에 아직 묻고 싶은 게 남아있어? 아니 애초에 근데 단검을 떨어뜨렸을 시점부터 애초에 공주를 풀어줄 생각을 하고 움직인 거기 때문에 한번 족쇄를 만져보겠습니다.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key.
설마.
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
열쇠가 없다면 다른 좋은 생각이 있어? 위로 올라가 보지. 여기 어딘가에 열쇠가 있을지도 몰라. 만약 없다 해도 족쇄를 부술 만한 걸 찾을 수 있겠지. 다른 좋은 생각? 다른 좋은 생각이라. 그냥 올라가 보는 건 어때?
I'll be here.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement,
뭐야?
but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here?
문을 열어본다.
You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. I'll repeat myself once again. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the
결국에는
task
공주를
is done.
죽이는 방향으로 가야 되나?
You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they? The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that.
공주를 구한다. 아니야, 공주를 구해. 아, 잠깐만. 아, 씨. 지금이면은 무방비 상태라서 죽이는 게 조금 쉬울 것 같긴 하거든? 근데 여기까지 와서 공주를 죽이는 것도 조금 안 맞는 것 같은데, 앞뒤가. 구해보자.
Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it.
야,
Before
공주가
long, you're
너무
able to crack through bone.
야,
she
공주가
pulls the
너무
bleeding stub of her arm through
상여자
the
아니냐?
iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound. Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world.
네가 뭐 어쩔 건데?
As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade.
아 뭐야?
Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that.
아 잠깐만, 나 컨트롤 할 수 있는 거였어?
Watch me.
경고한다. 야 경고한다가 있어. 야 이제 와서 죽이긴 에바지.
Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it! Stop resisting me! I am trying to get you out of here alive.
저항한다.
The blade. Move the blade.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes. I'll make this quick.
설마 날 죽이는 거야?
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease.
아 잠깐만.
Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck. This is the end, isn't it?
왜 날 죽이냐고.
I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it.
아니 해설자 너가 가만히 있었으면 알아서 진행됐잖아. 어이가 없네.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin, you're here to slay her.
야 시끄러. 오두막에 가. 이 개자식 이제 알겠다. 내 속임수는 더 이상 소용없어. 그래 이 개자식.
My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We've just met for the first time.
닥쳐.
Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago.
내가 왜 네 말을 들어야 되지? 이 모든 일에 의미가 있긴 해? 이거는 전에 있던 대사긴 해. 일단 오두막에 가자. 아니면 돌아서서 떠난다 하는 건 어때? 애초에 가질 않는 거지. 근데 이러면은 약간 좀 뭔가 일어나지 않을 것 같으니까 오두막에 가자.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop.
시끄러워.
Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink. Did you just say wink out loud? No, I didn't. Wink. Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess.
한번 안 가보는 것도 나쁘지 않을 것 같긴 한데 이번 챕터만 한번 보고
The interior of the cabin is less a cozy woodland retreat and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the
아까랑
cold,
배경이 좀
uninviting
다른데?
stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
일단은 거울 한번 가봐.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin.
이번에도 안 되네.
I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But there was a mirror a second ago, and now it's gone. If he doesn't want us to know about it, it must be important. We should keep our eyes peeled. Maybe it'll be back.
지하실에 그냥 내려가는 건 어때? 단검을 꼭 가져가야 돼? 지하실에 그냥 내려가.
I'm afraid I'm going to insist we take the blade. We're in a dangerous situation and I'm not letting us go down there without a weapon. Are you sure? What if she, I don't know, turns it against us? Which I'm bringing up in a purely hypothetical manner. Yes, I'm sure. Turns it against you? She's a prisoner here. She'll only be able to turn it against you if you give it to her. Which you won't be doing because she's an existential threat to the entire world. Okay, I'm trusting you.
난 결정할 권리도 없어? 한번 개겨.
Normally, yeah, but what about this? Call it a reflex. We take the knife as we go. Wonderful.
아 뭐야,
You do
결국엔
exactly that,
가져가네.
sweeping the knife from the table before proceeding to the basement. Don't worry about it. We have a knife, so what? It's not like we have to use it. No, you don't have to do anything, but you do well to use it regardless. Moving on. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old stone staircase. A few sputtering torches attempt to vaguely illuminate your path, dancing across glimmering patches of slimy moss on the stone steps. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice, harsh but controlled, carries up the stairs.
Is that a visitor I hear? Please, come downstairs.
Does she remember us? You walk down the
뭐야?
stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she
뭔가
moves.
바뀌었는데?
The chains
이렇게
binding
많이
both her
묶여있냐?
wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap. Should we be worried about the one around her neck? Why would you be worried about her restraints? If anything, they'll make your job easier. Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
내가 딱히 뭘 할 필요가 없겠는데 아주 단단히 묶여있잖아. 그냥 여기서 버려두고 떠나겠어. 공주 앞에 앉는다. 주인공 손목을 빈 수갑에 묶는 것도 된다고? 아, 그건 안 되는 것 같은데? 일단 공주 앞에 앉아보자.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease.
앉으라는 곳에 앉는다. 더 가까이 앉는다. 그냥 앉으라는 곳에 앉아.
You do as she asks and sit on the floor, still a good distance away from her.
Thank you. Now, what are your intentions for me?
내 의도라니. 무슨 뜻이지? 난 여기 온 적이 있어. 그건 나만 기억하는 건가? 내가 죽은 뒤로 무슨 일이 있었지? 벽에 걸린 저 빈 족쇄는 누굴 위한 거지? 이걸 한번 그냥 가볼까? 이번에는 단단하게 묶여있으니까 그냥 버려두고 가는 것도 나쁘지 않을 것 같은데? 아니면 이거 한번 물어보자 일단.
I don't know, but you could always try it on. Maybe it'll fit.
I hope I don't actually have to say this, but please don't lock yourself in chains. We need you ambulatory if you're going to save the world.
족쇄를 살펴본다. 진짜 된다고? 한번 보자.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. And why is that? Do I even need to explain myself? It's a shackle and it's one without a key. Do you want to be stuck here like she is?
And what? Is it going to lock the second we put our wrist into it?
I don't know. Maybe it will.
He doesn't want us to look at it. That's all the reason we need to investigate.
But what if he's telling the truth?
He isn't.
I am.
족쇄를 살펴본다. 아니 근데 살펴봤다가 나한테 채우는 거 아니야? 채우면 좀...
Against your better judgment, you approach the chain dangling from the far wall. The princess watches you with faux disinterest as you inspect it, though she can't fully hide her curiosity. I don't want to say what I'm supposed to say next.
What is that supposed to mean? It sounds bad. Is it bad?
Yes, it's bad.
Come out and say it then. You're just
뭔데?
wasting time.
Fine. As you hoist the shackle, its heft
뭐야?
shifts within your grasp, as if pulled by some odd magnetism. Before
아니.
you can so much as blink, it practically leaps from your hands, snapping
뭐야?
around your neck. And, as if your situation weren't bad enough, the same magnetism repels your blade, which is flung from your hand and sent skittering
아니,
across the
무슨-
floor of the basement.
아 무슨 족쇄가 자동이야.
Excuse me? Yes? Are we stuck here now? Yes.
Huh, so it does fit. And I guess it doesn't like your knife. We're stuck here together, aren't we? That's funny.
What are we supposed to do now?
Can't even cut ourselves out. Guess we'll starve.
That's horrible.
It's not all bad. We learned a valuable piece of information.
Not to touch things we're specifically told not to touch.
No, that there's something special about this loose chain. It's clearly important.
이제 어떡하지? 설마 이렇게 될 줄 알고 있었어? 조용히 기다리다. 뭐 이제 어떡하지는 딱히 뭐 없는 것 같고 둘 다 갇혔네. 그냥 대화를 해보자.
Yep.
이제 어떡하지?
Wait, I guess. Maybe something else will happen. Maybe not.
대화하기 싫은 거야?
Nope.
That's rude.
이렇게 될 줄 알고 있었어? 대답을 안 하네. 조용히 기다리다.
You and the princess wait in silence, though neither of you knows what you're waiting for. But you're waiting for something. You're waiting for anything. This is so boring.
There must be something we can do to get out of here. There must be something we're missing.
But there isn't. Time passes. It passes and passes and passes. And the basement of the cabin remains much the same. It is cold and silent.
At least the world is safe.
It isn't. You're stuck. Too far away from both the princess and your blade to do much of anything. But she's not ending anything. She's just sitting there.
그러니까
Her very existence is a threat. It harms everything around it.
How exactly does that work?
It just does.
해설자 이놈.
But
Your line of questioning is interrupted by the passage of even more time. And after that, even more time passes again. And let me guess, the cabin remains the same.
if time is passing, the cabin can't be the same. Even if the differences are small, they have to exist. That's just how things work.
I suppose you're correct. Things are changing. The differences are small at first, a bit of weathering here, a bit of erosion there. But then they get larger and larger.
아니 해설자가 뭔가 조작을 자꾸 하는 것 같은 그런 느낌인데? 지하실이 변하고 있는데 눈치챘어? 그냥 대답 안 할 것 같은데?
I don't like small talk. Remember?
오케이.
Still rude.
그냥 기다리자.
You continue to wait in silence, and the cabin continues to change. The decay comes faster now. You can see earth through holes in the stonework, can watch lichen spread along the seams of the walls.
근데 밥도 안 먹고 이렇게 버틴다고?
That doesn't make sense. Has our entire concept of time changed? What happened to starving? We should have died by now if the rocks around us are starting to erode. She hasn't starved. I guess she hasn't. Even more silent time passes as you watch roots push themselves
뭐야?
through the increasingly porous walls of the basement. Dirt seeps inside, flowing across the stone floor like a liquid, covering the ground and threatening to swallow you both.
그럼 애초에 공주를 안 죽여도 된다는 거네.
And pass, and pass, until suddenly
어?
there are no walls. And then... And... I think he's gone.
Would you look at that? We made it out of the cabin, and nothing bad had to happen to either of us. So this is the outside world. It's cold.
어? 아, 저렇게 찾아가네. 하지만 당신은 대답하지 못한다. 영원히. 이제 떠날 시간이다. 기억이 돌아온다.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her?
그러니까 공주를 바깥으로 살려 내보내면은 해설자가 없어지나 봐.
And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
당연히 두렵겠지. 넌 이제 끝이야. 하지만 난 끝이 아니지. 괜찮을 거야. 날 믿어. 우리는 전에도 여기 왔었고 그때도 두려웠어.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything.
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
조만간 보자. 괜찮을 거야. 거울에 한번 가보자. 아까랑 똑같이 비춰지겠지?
Oh, I don't like that silence.
당신은 성장했다. 당신은 또다시 정박에 와있다. 와있다. 당신은 오두막에 있다.
Flickering lights in empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again.
아, 넌 저번과 같은 존재와 얼마나 변화했지? 이렇게 변하니 기분이 어때?
Eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are familiarities that bind everything together. It feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward.
이 모든 일이 끝나면 내가 널 죽일 거라는 건 알고 있어? 보이지 않는 벽이 날 가로막았어. 왜 이전과 같은 똑같은 선택을 할 수가 없지? 넌 내가 만났던 자들 중 가장 나를 가장 친절하게 대해줘서 고마워. 넌 내가 만났던 자들 중에 가장 친절하게 해줬어. 다음엔 어떤 그릇을 원하지? 내가 너를 해치고 싶지 않아. 하지만 여정을 계속할 수 있도록 계속할수록 자꾸만 너를 해치게 돼. 집 합체를 공격한다? 아, 이거 처음부터 했어야 되나? 왠지 이거 못 참을 것 같은데 나중에. 돌아갈 준비가 됐어. 이거 한번 해보자.
I will long for your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am.
지금은 딱히 얘가 시원하게 대답을 안 해주는 것 같아.
We will meet again.
You're on a path. You're here.
이거를 다시 오두막에 가.
We're not gonna ignore him. The interior of the cabin is a blade.
지하실에 그냥 들어가고
The door to the basement. Her voice
Hello?
뭐야?
Is someone there?
목소리가 왜 저래?
is hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you.
구해주러 왔어.
How many times do I have to tell you how dangerous letting her out of here would be before it finally sinks in?
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever. Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
잠깐만.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist.
근데 첫 번째
binding her to
챕터에서는
the far wall of
첫
the
번째
basement.
챕터 공주는 풀어줄 수가 없잖아.
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
Don't do it. If she gets out of those chains, we're all one step closer to the end.
족쇄를 풀 방법이 없잖아. 어떻게 하지? 내가 봤을 때는 족쇄를 살펴보면은 풀 방법이 없을 것 같거든? 얘기를 한번 한 다음에
Okay.
난 너에 대해서 아무것도 몰라. 그저 이유가 있으니까 여기 갇혔다는 것만 알아. 이름하고 물어보는 게 있고 그동안 뭘 먹고 살아온 거지? 마실 거는? 내 도움으로 밖에 나가면 뭘 할 거지? 일단은 널 여기 가둬둘 거야. 그럼 내가 어떻게 할지 결정하는 동안 서로에 대해 좀 더 알 수 있겠지. 돌아와서 단검을 가져오는 게 있고 어떡하지? 야, 뭐 딱히 끌리는 게 없다. 이름이 뭐지?
Oh.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal Highness is too formal.
딱히 신뢰를 줄 만한 대답은 아니야?
Is Princess her name or her title? What if it's both? Could you imagine being named Princess Princess?
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like. I'm sorry, I've been down here so long, I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name, though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird. She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late.
이걸 한번 물어보자. 사람을 본 게 정말 오랜만이라 했는데 그동안 뭘 먹고 살아온 거지? 이거 한번 얘기 물어보고.
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
그러면 이거 한번 물어봐.
Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need, and you should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
족쇄를 한번 봐야 될 것 같은데 그러면? 이거 두 개 차이가 뭐야?
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you, and you won't. I promise.
근데 어차피 족쇄를 못 풀잖아.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
문 닫힐 거 아니야.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
이러면 아까랑 똑같은 건데. 이걸 한번 얘기해보자.
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
아까 했던 방법이지.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut.
그러면
You hear the
아까랑
clink of a
다른
lock
상황이야
sliding
이제.
into place.
팔을 안 갖고 왔고 문이 닫힌 상황이잖아. 아까랑 상황은 조금 다른 상황.
Is someone else here?
도로 내려가. 어차피 의미가 없어.
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth,
아이, 미친.
her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination
저기요?
of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs.
뭐야?
You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that.
아니 야. 아니 공주 뭐냐고.
Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm. Just
어쨌든
above the
풀어주네.
unyielding chain binding
아까랑
her to
똑같아,
this
이거는.
blade. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are
아
too high.
똑같잖아 이러면.
You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
What are you doing?
경고한다. 아까랑 좀 다른데? 아까는 공주가 등 비돌고 있었는데 경고를 했거든? 이번엔 앞에 있는데 경고를 하는 거야. 왜 다르지? 경고해봐.
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect.
아까랑 달라.
Stop it. Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to get you out of here alive.
저항한다.
The blade. Move the blade. As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your
설마.
infuriatingly
또 뺏겼어.
rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
Ah.
I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony. But you aren't dead yet.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way into your body.
I'm sorry.
아 잠깐만. 적당히 하세요.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her knife work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheeks. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened.
아니 아까 공주가 갑자기
You
이렇게
made
착해
your
보이니?
choice. It's over. Everything goes dark, and you die.
서공녀?
You're on a path in the woods. You're here to slay her.
오두막에 가자. 뭐 별 말 할 필요 없지.
A warning. She will lie. If only you knew what you did to us, you villain. Excuse me?
뭐야?
Forget he said anything. But he is a villain. He made our beloved brutally take our life last time. He's trying to keep us apart, but he won't be able to withstand the power of our love. Last time? What are you talking about? I think he just likes to hear the sound of his own voice. Let's try to ignore him. I do, but I also speak from the heart. My passions are too great to be stifled. They must be expressed. Sure, yeah, your passions are strong and all, but not everyone needs to hear them. Some things are better kept quiet. Don't pay their bickering any mind. Focus on the task ahead.
그러면은 아까 그 그릇만 조금 더
The
찾아서
interior of the
진행하면 되나?
cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine-threaded tapestries, a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
거울은 가지 말고 단검도 안 가져가도 알아서 어디서 굴러오는 것 같던데? 한번 가보자, 지하실에.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls.
아까
The basement
배경도 조금
almost
바뀐 게
seems
아까는
welcoming in the dim firelight.
배경이 안 좋고 이런 환경이면은 공주를 죽이는 게 좋겠다라고 했는데 지금은 분위기가 뭔가 좀 달라.
But it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her
봐봐.
is probably doing her a
아까는
favor.
이게 멘트가 그냥 깔렸었거든? 지금은 조금 다르다?
A soft voice carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Her voice. It's somehow even more beautiful than last time. I think we're in love. Okay, I'm with you that we should be doing whatever we can to save her, but saying we're in love is
사랑에
a
빠진
bit
건 좀
much,
너무
don't you
같다.
think? We
don't even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this fawning. Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess.
뭔가
There's a
드레스도
heavy
좀
chain
바뀐 것
around her
같다.
wrist, binding her to the far wall.
My love, we're here to rescue
아,
you from
적당히
your
하세요.
unjust
왜 저래?
and foul imprisonment.
You know she can't hear you, right?
She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my spirit.
Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
돌아오지 않을까봐?
Did you hear that?
알고 있나봐.
She said we're dashing.
And she called us a hero. Flattery really goes a long way with the two of you, doesn't it? Waiting for you to come back? You've been here before, haven't you?
That's right, villain, and you killed us.
Well, she killed us.
Only because he made us try and kill her. It was self-defense. Our beloved's hands remain unstained by cruelty.
And you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but what's done is done. What matters is you have a chance to do it right this time. We damned a whole world, but everything reset. Nothing resets, you're just somewhere else. You can't keep hopping between worlds forever, especially not without leaving a trail of incomprehensible devastation behind you. This is horrible.
근데 지금은 어떻게 풀어주냐 이거?
Horrible for you, maybe, but we've been given another opportunity to sweep her off her feet and treat her like the lady she is.
Now, hold on, if she actually ended a world, are you sure we want to do this? Are you sure we want to rescue her?
We never saw a world end, and now I'm even more certain that we must chase our heroic and romantic destiny than I've ever been. I shan't let anyone convince us otherwise.
Are you listening to him? He's lost it. Don't let him distract you. Just do your job.
이번에는 어떻게 될까? 지난번 날 죽였지 엄청나게 아팠다고 왜 그랬지? 칼을 안 가져왔는데 또 잘라줘야 돼? 내가 죽고 나서 무슨 일이 있었지? 질문이 있어. 지난번에 날 죽이고 난 다음 혹시 세상을 멸망시켰어? 지난번에 있었던 일을 미안해. 널 죽이라고 날 보낸 해설자가 내 몸을 조종해서 아주 불공평했지. 칼을 안 가져왔는데 또 잘라줘야 돼? 이거 하면은 팔 뜯을 것 같은데? 일단 이거 한번 해보자.
If another version of me was pushed to such drastic action, it was for good reason.
That's okay. You were just doing your best, and that's all that matters.
She took that in stride, to a surprising extent. An
또
almost
그건
unsettling
그렇네.
extent, actually.
That's because she's perfect.
Do you think she has someone like him telling her what to do? She doesn't. There's no one else like me.
I think he's right, because I like it better if she doesn't have some horrid little voice like him,
그러니까
always
저번에
trying to
있던
drive her to
공주랑
violence.
동일이 인물인데 내가 죽고 나서 무슨 일이 있었지?
You died, and now we're talking.
아니 씨 그걸 물어본 게 아니잖아. 칼을 안 가져왔는데.
I'm okay with whatever you come up with. You can cut my arm off again.
We won't be laying a finger on her perfect wrists, and indeed, we won't even have to. Do you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her right out with no harm done.
What? No, she's a prisoner here. You can't just slip her hand through the chains. Why are you two arguing over the logistics of slipping her hand out of her shackles? She just said she'd be okay with any idea we came up with. Am I the only one here who thinks that's weird?
She didn't care last time. Why should she care this time? That's our stoic, smiling angel.
또 팔을 잘라야 되나?
No, you're right. It's extremely bizarre behaviour and further evidence that she's a monster who's not to be trusted.
So go ahead and slay her.
공주를 구해?
No, I can't let you do that. If you take another step towards the princess, You'll what? Take over our body and force us to try and kill her? I would if you had a weapon.
Not on my watch, villain. My passions contain titanic depths, and if you try anything that might harm our dearest, I will end our life without a second thought.
어떻게 해야 될까?
You wouldn't.
I would.
I'd listen to him if I were you. He has a lot of strong feelings. And doesn't the world end if we don't stop her? You approach the princess and gingerly slide her
뭐야?
hand from her bindings. That shouldn't have worked. I'll be damned.
아니
We're
잠깐만.
doomed.
야 그냥 빠지는 거였잖아. 어이가 없네.
I can't believe it. But I guess I have to.
I told you, there's no life more worth living than that of a true believer.
I'm free, and you're not trying to kill me this time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The princess jumps up and smothers you in a joyful embrace. Ugh. If only you had a weapon, one slip of the wrist and your pristine blade would be buried in her back and everyone out there would be saved.
아니 해설자 얘가 나쁜 애 아니야?
Luckily for Mr. Romance, we don't have a weapon.
Who needs a weapon when we have the power of love on our side?
What do we do now?
뭘 하고 싶어? 우린 떠날 거야. 뭘 하고 싶은지 평생 동안 천천히 정하면 돼.
Let me guess. End the world?
Spoken with the rank cynicism of someone who has never felt love in his heart.
I don't actually know. Nobody's ever asked me what I wanted before.
She doesn't even know what she wants. You may have had her all wrong. What if this whole thing is just a misunderstanding? What if she doesn't want to end the world? You're so gullible. Is the only thing you've ever doubted the actual truth?
I think I want to leave. And I think...
The princess closes her eyes in deep reflection. And then she shrugs.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
내가 원하는 걸 알려주길 원해. 뭔가 원하는 게 있을 거 아니야. 세상을 멸망을 원해? 난 그냥 나가고 싶어. 나머지는 나중에 생각하면 돼. 나가고 싶으면 나가자. 이거 두 개가 비슷하니까 사실 이거는 의미가 딱히 없는 것 같은데? 나중에 생각해.
That sounds perfect.
The princess takes your hand, the last hopes of the entire world slipping through your fingers as they intertwine with hers.
We have each other. We don't need the world for our happy ending.
I like to think that you do, actually. Look, I have my doubts, but the choice has been made and this is happening.
어떻게 될까? 이거
You
궁금한데?
don't have to mope about it. I will mope about it, because moping is the only recourse you love-blind fools have left me with. You and the princess walk up the
Ora?
stairs hand in hand. Ugh, look at the way she's smiling at you. She doesn't have to be so happy about this. And what happens after we walk up the stairs? Let's see. Oh, isn't that interesting? The door slams in your face and the lock clicks. That's a familiar move. Did I do that last time? Then you should know that you won't be able to leave.
Oh no! Did someone lock us in here? That's not fair! We're supposed to leave now.
She's right. It isn't fair. But the unfairnesses of the world are no match for the strength of true love.
Enough with this true love nonsense. You just met her.
Of course you wouldn't understand. Our passions run deeper than anything you will ever
이건
know.
어떻게 열어?
Are you listening to this? You don't have to go along with the every whim of that delusional voice. I'm just along for the ride at this point.
열 수 있겠어? 야, 내가 스스로 열 수 있을 거야. 함께 한다면 열 수 있을 거야. 함께 한다면. 야, 결혼하자. 함께 한다면이다.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Like a pair of teenagers in love,
You and the princess place your hands on the door together. Blech. And the lock clicks. And the
뭐야?
door creaks open. Are you kidding me?
문이
I
열리는데?
told you our love was insurmountable. You and the princess make your way upstairs, and the blade. That's right. There's still a chance for you to do the right thing. Take the blade from the table and slay her before
안
it's too
되지.
late.
안 되지. 야 근데 이거 갑자기 반전으로 공주가 단검을 짚는 거 아니야? 아 몰라 끝까지 믿어봐.
You're enjoying this, aren't you? You're taking every opportunity you can to draw
즐기고
out
있대.
the end of the world and make me suffer. I hate you.
That's the way out. We're going to leave together, just like you wanted.
Yes, I suppose you are going to do that, aren't you? You cross the room, opening the door to the cabin. And then you step outside.
진짜 나갔네? 로맨틱 헤이즈.
A happy ending at last.
We did it. What should we do now?
이제 사라질 것 같은데?
Where did everything go? Where did he go?
Oh, is he gone? I hadn't noticed. I was too busy staring deep into our beloved's
그 또 그 녀석이 데려갈 것 같은데?
I'm cold. Is being happy supposed to be so cold?
She's cold. Quick, our feathers. Pluck them all and weave her a coat worthy of a princess.
아니 얘 있잖아. 이 데려가는 애가 뭔가 악의 축 아니냐? 하지만 당신은 외투를 만들지 못한다. 영원히 이제 떠날 시간이다. 기억이 되돌아온다.
She's gone. Where did she go? And is that a mirror? Why is it here?
거울에 다가가? 어? 뭐야? 아니 수척해졌는데?
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again.
아니
All
얘는
of me is
도대체 뭐지?
changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same.
너는 모순이 아니야. 모순은 존재하지 않아. 아무리 다시 돌아가도 우리 둘은 매번 서로를 다치게 해. 그 사실이 널 변화시키진 않아. 너 더 나쁘게 만들지 않아? 우리가 한 세계를 두고 떠날 때 그 세계는 어떻게 되는 거야? 난 더 이상 돌아가고 싶지 않아. 여기에 있고 싶어. 할 수 있다면 영원히. 어떻게 해야 되지? 이걸 한번 해볼까? 아니 얘는 왜 자꾸 날 보내는 걸까?
If you need time, then I will wait with you.
시간이 필요하다면 함께 기다린다고? 아 잠깐만 또 이렇게 멍석 깔아주니까 못하겠네? 너는 모순이 아니야.
And yet my waters flow and my streets bustle. There are no words that can describe me into non-existence. There is no logic that can bind my multitudes. I am everything that you have known me to be, but I am also none of it.
일단 돌아가자 그냥.
I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
돌아가고
You're on a path
그릇을 다
in the
얻어서
woods.
오자.
You're here.
You make your... The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The blade is your...
이번에도 지하실을 그냥 내려가봐.
The door to the basement, her voice
Hello? Is someone there?
is hypnotizing. So don't let it fool you.
계속 내려가.
Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had... You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess.
어떻게 해야 될까 이번에?
There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to any?
I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
족쇄를 그냥 살펴봐.
You're only making
이번엔
this more
뭐야?
difficult.
족쇄가 좁잖아.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake.
No, you're doing the right thing.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall.
아, 홀린
and give
자가
them a
없을 때.
tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day.
어쨌든 문이 잠길 거야.
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance.
If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut.
팔을
You
물어
hear the
뜯을
click
거란
of a
말이야.
lock sliding into place.
Is someone else here?
팔을 묻어 뜯을 거야. 아 잠깐만 이걸 한번 해볼까 그냥? 이 문 열어.
Your shouts and pleas are met. I'll repeat
젠장.
myself once again. You're here to slay the princess. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade. Like, easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're...
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely
팔을
hesitates
묻어
before
뜯고.
raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tear as she rips her flesh from her bone. A sound comes. It's the blade from upstairs.
이번에는 죽여보자.
You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that.
이번에 죽여야 돼. 어차피 구한다를 해도 어차피 죽는 엔딩이었으니까. 이번에 한번 죽여보자. 어쩔 수 없다.
Without hesitation, you bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Finally. The wound drives her to the ground.
Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end.
You bastard. Were you lying to me this whole time?
The princess pushes away from you, the motion ripping the blade from her back.
잠깐만.
Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets your eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator.
You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that can possibly save you from me.
I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us.
안 될 것 같은데?
It's an act. She's wounded and unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you.
I'm not so sure.
Don't waver now. As you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her arm. Your knife cuts into her again and again as you're tackled to the ground, your body racked with pain as she rips into you with tooth and claw.
야 손톱이 왜 이렇게 길어?
Forget about trying to rescue her. This is about survival now. Give her everything you've got.
Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well, your blade having left deep gashes in the princess's back. You seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees.
아니 뭐 이렇게 약해.
We can still turn this around.
포기한다 마무리. 야 잠깐만. 계단을 뛰어 올라가 공주를 지하실에 가둔다. 내가 봤을 때는 싸움으로는 질 것 같은데 느낌이? 이거를 한번 해보자. 문이 닫혀 있잖아. 근데 해설자가 문을 열어줄지도 몰라. 아닌가? 포기한다. 포기하면 바로 죽을 것 같은데. 야 도망가 보자. 도망가자.
The princess is still chained to the wall. There's nothing she can do to stop you from getting out of it.
What if she doesn't succumb to her wounds? Whatever she is so much more dangerous than I thought she'd be.
You rush up the stairs and dive past the threshold. You're safe. For now. You close the basement door, locking it behind you and quickly barricading it with the heavy wooden table that once held the blade.
이러면 어떻게 돼?
We can make this work. She has an awful wound and we have all the time in the world. Playing jailkeeper for a while might make things a little easier. You settle in against the far wall to watch the basement door. It isn't long before you start to drift off, your eyelids heavy with fatigue. But sleep doesn't come. Instead, your rest is broken by a piercing, wailing voice calling out to you from the other side of the door.
I know you're still there. Why don't you make things easier
목소리가
on
왜 저래?
yourself and let me out? It's not like this little door will hold for very long anyways. It's probably a good idea to try to get back on my good side.
She sounds terrifying. Like she's less of the princess you saw and more like something out of a nightmare.
As she violently rattles the door, do your best to shut her out of your mind.
When I get out of here, I'm going to pick you apart piece by piece. I won't forget what you did, and I'll never forgive it. You don't know the kind of enemy you've made tonight.
It doesn't sound like she's getting any weaker.
No, it doesn't.
얼마든지 위협해봐. 내가 죄책감만 덜해질 뿐이라고. 이게 정체가 뭐든 간에 넌 공주가 아니야. 마음껏 힘을 낭비하고 있으라고. 난 여기서 기다릴 테니까. 얼마든지 문을 두드려봐. 네 죽음만 빨라질 뿐이야. 무시하고 잠을 청한다. 야 이건 뭐냐? 이거 둘 중 하나 하면 될 것 같은데?
Do you think a couple of cuts is enough to do me in? I'm not as frail as you think.
You put the princess's threats out of your mind as best you can and huddle up against the wall. You jolt awake in the middle of the night to silence in the cabin. The ruckus has stopped, and the door to the basement is ajar.
어째서 이렇게 되는 거야?
And the table shoved out of the way.
Where is she?
Thanks for helping me get out of that awful basement.
You try and stumble to your feet, but as the princess draws near, it's as though your body simply stops working. It isn't all at once. The paralysis comes in waves. First your toes go numb, and then your feet, and then your legs.
Whose side are you on?
Yours, of course. But I have a duty to uphold the truth. Lying about the facts of the situation doesn't change them.
So helpless. I can take my time with you, can't I?
뭐 대화야?
She steps closer, one silent footfall at a time, cocking her head in curiosity as you feel your organs shutting down one by one.
Or maybe I can't take my time
아니
with
씨.
you. You don't look well. A little green around the gills. What a shame. If you'd only helped me get out of here, we could have done such wonderful things together.
Your lungs stop drawing in breath, and your heart freezes in your chest. You have seconds left.
I'd say better luck next time, but we both know this is the end.
don't we?
It can't be. This can't actually be how everything ends. I'm sorry, but it is. Everything goes dark, and you die.
뭐야, 죽은 거야?
You're on a path in the woods. You're here to...
해설자 닥쳐. 오두막에 가. 그 여자가 또 날 죽일 거야. 필요 없고.
A warning. She will lie. She will...
I don't think lying and cheating is a thing. She was very direct with us.
It doesn't matter. Don't trust anyone. The interior of the
뭐냐,
cabin
이번?
is plain, the smooth wood of the walls almost featureless. The only furniture of note is a lone table, knocked on its side in the corner of the room. A pristine blade stands between you and the
아까랑
open,
똑같은 그런
inviting
구조 아니야?
basement doorway.
이건 또 뭐야? 얘 뭐야?
The blade is your implement.
이거
You'll
뭐지?
need it if you want to do
여기도
this
있네?
right.
Hold on. What happened to the door? It's just an empty frame. She's already gotten out, hasn't she? And she's ready for us. She's been waiting. Can't you feel her eyes on us? I'm going to need all of you to pull yourselves together. The princess has not already gotten out. But if you keep getting stuck in your head like this, you're going to struggle to get the job done. So deep breath in, deep breath out. Your task awaits, and only you can do it.
일단은 거울은 볼 필요가 없고 단검을 가져가봐.
You reach down and pick the blade up off the floor. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Good. Steel can't lie to us.
Is it gonna be enough, though? Couldn't you have given us something else? Something, I don't know, better than a knife? Could we have a bomb? The blade is the only thing you need to finish your task. You're more than capable of pulling this off, so long as you don't lose faith in yourself.
Those are the words of someone who knows he's sending us to our death.
일단은 거울은 볼 필요가 없고 지하실에 가봐. 자, 거울 한번 볼까? 거울에 아까 내 비친 모습이 좀 이상했거든? 한 번만 보자.
You walk up to the wall next to the empty basement door frame. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about?
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall.
여기 걸려있는
I hope you know how
거울은
ridiculous you look right
그냥
now.
못 보나 보다.
Did he make it go away? Clearly there was something in there worth investigating if he wants it hidden so bad.
아, 그런가? 조사할 만한 가치가 있나?
You cross over
뭐야?
the threshold and onto a series of isolated
잠깐만.
steps
배경 왜
suspended
이래?
in darkness.
More eyes, too. You never mentioned the eyes.
The air seeping up from below reminds you of fresh lightning and static, as if you're descending into a place that isn't meant for a creature of flesh and blood. Her cruel and playful voice prances up the stairs.
I didn't think you'd come back. We're gonna have a lot of fun, you and I.
아니, 한번 죽였더니 얘가 흑화했네.
Come back? She must have you confused with someone else.
You really don't remember, do you? It doesn't matter, we need a game plan. We know we can't just go down there unprepared.
칼을 던지는 건 어려울까? 그녀와 대화해보겠어. 계획은 필요 없어. 난 공주를 죽일 거야. 해설자는 내가 할 수 있다고 하는데 왜 다들 비관적으로 구는지 모르겠네. 끝없는 어둠 속으로 뛰어내린다. 아니, 끝없는... 이건 뭐야? 한번 내려가봐. 뛰어내리면 어떻게 돼? 그냥 죽는 거 아니야? 그녀와 대화해보겠어.
Didn't you hear my warning a minute ago? She can't be
어차피
trusted.
내려가나 대화나 똑같으니까.
Something tells me she isn't going to be very keen on talking anyway.
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. As you emerge, you find yourself between two loose rows of white wooden planks suspended in nothingness. A smattering of cobblestones visible against the inky black of the basement mark where the floor should be, forming vague pathways. At what seems to be the end of the room, they diverge in opposite directions, left and right. She could be anywhere, and there's nowhere for us to hide. We're completely exposed. Are you really not going to comment on how weird this place is? No, I'm not. Somebody needs to be the voice of reason here, and it certainly isn't you. Excuse me, I'm being incredibly reasonable. You're the one who's just matter-of-factly describing whatever the hell we're looking at like it's an ordinary basement. We're going to die down here. I don't want to die again. Please stop saying that. You're only going to make things worse. Just pick a direction and start moving.
이 해설자도 나쁜 놈이야 이거.
I wouldn't give it too much thought if I were you. It doesn't really matter. Because either way you go, I'm going to find you.
왔던 길로 돌아간다. 왼쪽 길 오른쪽. 아무것도 하지 않는다. 근데 이게 지금 공주 아니야? 여기도 눈이 있긴 하지만 내가 오른손잡이니까 왼쪽으로 간다.
You turn to the left. A faintly outlined path lies before you.
There you are.
아 shit.
I told you I was going to find you.
As the princess approaches, your legs suddenly go numb. Your arms quickly follow. This is it, isn't it?
And you brought a little knife with you.
야 뭐
Cute.
야 죽일 수가 없는데? 그냥
There has to be a way out of this. Think. What did you do? Pull yourself together. She isn't supposed to be like this.
I wonder how many times I'll get to play with you before you break.
Your vision cuts out as your blood begins
뭐야?
to coagulate. It's as if every part of your being is coming to a lurching halt. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Heart, lungs, liver. Your lungs pull in a desperate gulp of air as your eyes shoot back open. What are you doing? I'm working. Do you want this body to function, or do you want... And then experience stops once more as your body reapproaches death. Okay, whatever you were doing, please just start doing it again. You sure about that? Are you sure that's what you want, or do you want to interrupt me some more?
왜 지네끼리 싸워?
You have seconds left. Yes, I'm sure. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Again, your eyes shoot open as you gasp for breath. Liver.
Can't decide what you want to do, can you? Oh well, standing there gasping like a fish is more fun than dead. Even if you look ridiculous.
시끄러.
She isn't attacking us. Lungs. Why? Liver. The why doesn't matter. She's already proven her ill intent. Don't lose sight of your mission.
근데 공격을 진짜 왜 안 하지?
Your weapon is still in your hands. Strike at her and end this before it's too late.
근데 이거는 공격을 해도 의미가 없을 것 같은데? 뭐 그냥 죽을 것 같지가 않은데? 왜 날 바로 죽이지 않는 거지? 날 살렸던 이유가 뭐지? 내가 뭘 원하는 거야? 지난번에 내가 날 죽이고 난 후 무슨 일이 있었지? 난 내가 세상을 파괴하는 걸 막으라는 말을 들었어. 넌 미쳤어. 내가 협력하고 싶다면 최소한 장기들을 멈추는 것만이라도 그만두겠어? 우린 적이 될 수 없어. 우리 협력할 수 있어. 어쩌면 친구가 될 수 있을지도. 함께 떠난다는 뭐야? 난 널 도울 생각도 없고 널 죽일 마음도 없어. 괴롭히라면 마음껏 괴롭혀. 단검을 버리고 악몽과 함께 남는다. 네가 이겼어. 여기서 나가자. 어? 공주를 죽이는 건 의미가 없는 것 같아. 이거를 물어봐?
Because I don't want to. And even if I did, I don't have to.
어?
Look at the way you're struggling to stay alive. It's taking everything you have to keep your heart pumping right now. And I'm enjoying the show.
The princess leans forward,
bringing her masked lips close to your ear.
If I want to see you gone, all I need to do is break your concentration.
Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. She slowly runs her velvet glove across the base of your neck. It feels like static. And then... Shit, make her stop!
Hey, snap out of it.
Okay, deep breath, we're fine. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves, heart. You're back. Lungs, liver, nerves, heart.
그냥 얘가 한마디면 죽을 수 있다는 거잖아.
One moment, and then you're gone. Just like that. Ah, and there's the fear.
She pulls away.
But that wouldn't be very fun, now would it? I've already done that.
그러면은 이걸 한번 해볼까?
I tried to leave while you suffocated, but that stupid cabin wouldn't let me. So I started to drag your body out with me, and then... Well, you died before I could get to the door. And then I was here, and now you're here too. I don't think I can move without you, and dead doesn't count. And as much as I love what we have going on, I have bigger plans than tormenting one poor little creature forever. I want to leave.
그러면은 내가 죽으면은 못 나가고 결국에 나랑 같이 나갈 수가 있다는 거네? 아, 그러고 보면은 그 전에 공주를 밖으로 꺼냈을 때 죽이고 안 죽이고가 문제가 아니고 나랑 같이 나갔었네. 그러니까는 오두막 밖을 나갈 수가 있었네. 그러면은 같이 나가자. 네가 이겼어. 여기서 나가자. 어차피 이길 수가 없어.
What? No!
Oh, you come around. Oh, this is going to be so wonderful.
No, I'm not going to let this happen. Before you can utter another word, your body stops moving, and, do you think you can just wrest control away from us? This body's barely functioning as it is. Doesn't the world end if we fail to stop her? Won't letting us die here just make it end faster? Shit. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves, heart, lungs, liver. With a flick of the princess's wrist, the stairs slide back into place. I can't believe you're making me watch you damn everyone to torment and oblivion.
Go ahead. I'll be right behind you.
근데 내보내면 위험할 것 같긴 해.
Trust having our back to her.
You're not wrong, but maybe you should let me handle the feedback. Just focus on keeping us alive.
Right. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves, heart, lungs, liver.
Besides, I get the feeling she's telling the truth. She needs us alive.
그러니까 나가면은 어차피 그릇으로 흡수될 거니까 그냥 밖으로 내보내면 될 것 같아. 네가 먼저 가는 건 어때? 사실 딱히 의미가 없어. 그냥 계단 올라가.
You place a shaky foot on the first step.
아까도 공주가 먼저 나갔어.
From the basement. You can feel the static prickling of the princess on your neck. Your limbs buzzing with pins and needles. An uncomfortable and constant reminder that you exist. And that your existence is so very precarious.
You're almost there.
The only thing left between you and the cabin is the now shut door to the basement. It would be a real shame if it had locked behind you. Oh, you snake. There wasn't even a door when we first got here. The door was from last time. I told you we shouldn't trust him.
해설자가 끝까지 문을.
I know he's messing with us, but you can't lose your cool. We need you right now. Remember?
Yes, I remember. Of course I remember. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. This is so frustrating. Heart, lungs,
Thank
heart,
you. And you?
lungs,
You'd really rather us die down here than let her out?
heart.
Of course I would. As much as I want you to have a happy ending, the fate of the world is a little more important, and you still have a weapon. You can still make this right.
Liver, nerves,
문을 열어본다. 문이 잠긴 것 같아.
nerves.
문을 열어봐 일단.
Oh, look at that. It's locked.
nerves, heart,
It'll open.
lungs,
You just have to give it a tug.
nerves.
열어봐.
You pull against the
뭐야?
door. The lock gently clicks open in
아씨
response to your
뭐야?
effort,
밀어서
and the door creaks on its hinges. This
밀어서
is
여는 문이야?
right. That's not even the way it's supposed to swing. It's supposed to swing out.
Heart, lungs, liver.
You're not nearly as powerful as you'd have us think, are you?
Heart, lungs, liver, nerves, heart.
Anyways, like he said, you're not really in control here, are you? I never said I was. If I was in control here, why would I need you to slay her? I don't know. Secret reasons?
Lungs,
The
liver,
door is open. What are you dawdling for? It's time for us to go. The world is waiting.
nerves, heart.
Shit. The princess moves past you and into the cabin. This is it. This is your final moment to make things right. Kill her.
아니
I thought you wanted us to slay her.
죽일 수 있는 그런 클래스가 아닌 것 같은데.
It's the same thing. Do it. Do it now. Do it now, or everything is over. Okay, what do we do? I said, what do we do?
Heart,
Oh, do you want to hear from me now? Yes. Well, I thought you needed me to run the autonomic nervous system. We do, but this is important. Look, I'll even do it myself. Just tell us
어떻게
who to
되냐?
trust. Brain? Heart. Right, heart. Lungs. Lungs. Liver. Nerves. Okay, thanks. I got it. Heart. Lungs. Liver. Nerves. Heart.
근데 이걸 해야 되는 거고?
Lungs. You're terrible at this. I know, but I'm doing my best. Yes, it's very hard to stay focused on running things when other people are talking to you, isn't it?
What are you doing?
Heart, lungs,
공주 빡친다.
nerves, heart. Finally, I can talk. Now, what were you asking me? Running everything kind of feels like popping in and out of consciousness. It's easy to lose track of things. They were asking you for your blessing to trust me. Lungs. Oh, that's right. Yeah, fuck this guy. Don't trust him. Heart. Really? So you'd have them trust her? Oh, of course not. Can't trust anybody here but ourselves.
근데 공주를
I
믿어야 되는
guess
게
that
맞을 것 같은데.
leaves us back where we
뭐
started,
방법이 없는 것
doesn't
같은데.
it? I suppose if I had to make a choice, I'd pick the one that doesn't make our organs shut down.
어?
Thank you for your gracious show of support. But that's a marginal preference. We'll have to deal with him later. I'd just rather deal with him while our organs are intact. Whatever. You heard what he had to say, so whether you trust me or not, killing her is still the best, nay, the only option you have worth taking. Alright, I'm done. You can let me take over again. Finally, that was awful. I really don't know how you do it.
Heart, lungs,
You've been standing there staring blankly for a while now. And I have to say my patience is running a little thin. So don't make a lady wait any longer, okay?
lungs,
Open the door.
lungs.
공주를 죽인다. 공주는 못 죽여 내가 봤을 땐. 게임이 안 되잖아. 능력이. 아까부터 하려고 했던 그걸 하는 게 맞아.
The door
오두막을 나가.
twists in your hand, revealing the forested path beyond the cabin.
Liver,
You bastard. You've actually done it. You've actually doomed everyone.
heart,
It's so beautiful. I can't wait to ruin it.
liver,
But it's so cold, too. It's itching against my skin.
봐봐. 또 흡수된다.
Why is it so cold?
lungs. She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again.
해체됐다고?
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. We're supposed to be there. Do you know what we'll find out there?
그건 수사적인 질문이야. 넌 이미 알고 있는 거야? 나무들과 별 그리고 사람들이 있겠지. 적어도 사람들이 있을 거야. 저 바깥에 실존하는 게 있을까? 넌 우리가 실제로 존재한다고 생각해? 이거는 뭐 다른 얘기고. 네가 날 돌려보낼 때마다 난 호자가 아니야. 네가 말을 거는 목소리들이 있어. 일부는 나지만 그중 한 명은 다른 존재야. 난 그를 해설자라고 불러. 그는 내가 널 죽이길 원해. 내게도 해설자가 있어? 그들에게도 해설자가 있는 거야? 이거는 좀 궁금하네.
No, their thoughts are quiet. Do you think your narrator lives in the spaces beyond?
뭐 대답이 딱히 없네? 딱히 끌리는 대답이 없는데? 이걸 하자.
It's nice to be with someone whose thoughts I can never know is mine.
다시 돌아가?
The next time I see you, I will be here.
이거를 몇 번 더 해야 되는 거야?
You're on a path. You're here.
한번 돌아서서 떠나볼까? 이거 한번 해보자.
Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave?
조용히 오두막 반대 방향으로 계속 걸어간다.
Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. Good. What we're being asked to do here is wrong. Better to wash our hands of this whole situation than to take part in it. Ignore that annoying little voice. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's strange. It looks like this path
뭐야?
also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved after all.
돌아서서 다시 떠난다. 다시 한번 해보자.
You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do your job, everyone dies.
왜냐면 첫 번째 챕터에서는 모든 방향을 해봤던 것 같아. 공주를 해치고 싶지 않아. 전부 죽으라고 해. 날 외딴 숲에 던져놓고 누군가 자기네들 대신 죽이라고 강요할 거만 말이야. 이걸 한번 해봐.
When I said everyone, I meant everyone. That's a pretty large group to just condemn to death over a single princess. And, last I checked, you're part of everyone too, so if you think about it, walking up to that cabin and slaying her is really in your best interests as well. But fine, you turn around and trek back down the path you came. Oh, would you look at that? You're at the cabin again. Now, I'm not normally one for superstition or astrology, but I have to say, it seems like the universe itself is doing its best to bring you to your fated confrontation with the princess.
계속 되돌아오는 건가? 어차피 소용없는 거지. 저 오두막에 들어가는 거지. 좋아. 그래, 그러면 다른 방향으로 가지 뭐. 이곳에서 나갈 때까지 숲을 헤맬 거야.
There's always a choice. Let me tell you right now that you're making the wrong one for pretty much everyone who has ever lived, as well as for everyone who ever will. And here we go. As you trudge into the woods, something strange starts to happen. At first, it's little flickers out of the corner of your eyes. Glimpses of familiar wooden structures through the leaves. But as you focus on your surroundings, you start to realize that those flickers weren't just a trick of light. In every direction,
뭐예요?
there is a path and a cabin. And not just a cabin, the cabin. An infinite fractal of
얘
paths and
해설자가
cabins
나쁜 놈이라니까요?
desperately trying to draw you back to where you need to be.
Wait, what's going on?
But you're too stubborn for that, aren't you? It doesn't matter how many paths or cabins appear around you, you're just going to do whatever you can to shirk your responsibility because you care more about irritating me than you do about the fate of the world. You've doomed us all, you know that, right? But of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't just wander off into the forest in search of certain death. You lose track of just how long you spend aimlessly tromping through the wilderness. But it's not like any of that time spent lost in the woods really matters, because it isn't long before the world ends and everyone dies.
뭐야? 이렇게 챕터가 끝나버리네?
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of you're here to slay her.
이 뒤에는 뭐야? 뭐 이상한 벽이 있다? 오두막으로부터 달아날 수 없다면 그냥 여기 머물겠어. 지난번에 저 벽은 없었는데 날 강제로 오두막에 데려갈 생각하지 마. 그래, 갑자기 이상한 벽이 생겼어. 가만히 한번 있어볼까?
You have already committed to my completion. You cannot go further astray.
뭐지? 이렇게 이걸 한번 해보자.
What are you talking about? I'm sure those walls have always been there. It makes sense if you think about it. If there weren't any walls in the woods, someone might have gotten lost. Or, heaven forbid, someone other than you might have stumbled onto the princess. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
I don't know, I think it's more fun if he knows what we're thinking.
반항심.
He's like a captive audience.
He might have walled off everything but the path to the cabin, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ways we can ruin his day. If by ruining my day, you mean ruining everyone's day forever, then yes, I suppose there are plenty of ways you could pull that off. The world really did end last time, didn't it? We should be careful. For all we know, we just got lucky. The world hasn't ended yet, and you are never going to slay her with that attitude. Stuff those pathetic little voices to the back of your mind and stay focused on the task ahead.
그러면 이번에 선택사항이 이제 오두막 가는 거밖에 없는데? 아니 안 돼. 아니 안 되는 뭐야?
Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
I don't know, I think it's more fun if he knows what we're thinking. He's like a captive audience.
He might have walled off everything but the path to the cabin, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ways we can ruin his day. If by ruining my day, you mean ruining everyone's day forever, then yes, I suppose there are plenty of ways you could pull that off. The world really did end last time. The world hasn't ended
저번에
yet.
말이 똑같네?
And you are never...
없어 이제. 오두막에 갈게. 뭐 방법이 없네? 선택사항이 줄어들었네?
A warning.
잠깐만,
before
이렇게
you
해놓은
go
거야?
any further. She will lie. If we're stuck going in there, maybe we should believe her.
Ignore him. He's just being difficult for the sake of it. Let's keep an open mind. The cabin interior is wrong. A confusing patchwork of many cabin
이상한데?
interiors, all projected across what's almost the same space. But it's all shifted. An inch here, a foot there, such that the seams are never quite visible enough for the place to make any sense. The only furniture of note is a plain table, its legs all the wrong lengths, its material devoid of feature. The blade is your implement.
If he
일단 한번
wants us to
들어보자.
take it, maybe we should just leave it to collect dust. Or better yet, grab it and throw it out the window. What good is a knife against a world-ending monstrosity anyway?
No, we're taking the knife. Have you seen this place? We have literally no idea what to expect and no idea what we're dealing with. I've already told you what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a princess.
How many times do I have to explain this incredibly simple and straightforward premise?
거울도 한번 보자.
You can't just say that. But when everything here is so wrong. Listen to me. My job is to describe facts as facts and to guide you through your job, which is to slay the princess and through that action, save the entire world. And if you're going to slay her, you cannot let fear creep into your heart.
좀 시끄러
You
해설자.
cannot lose yourself. Oh, you've piqued my interest. What's going to happen if we lose ourselves? Nothing, because you're going to pull yourself together. Just ignore the stressful geometry and stay calm. How? Even if we closed our eyes, you're constantly describing it to us. I'm not going to stop doing my job, so you're just going to have to get better at yours. And quickly, if you don't mind. Yes, take a deep breath. I'm all for getting under his skin, but we'll miss
이
out on loads
반항심이
of
말이
fun if we
많네.
shrivel up into a ball and go insane the first time we see something weird. What you're seeing here is obviously real. Just accept it and go with the flow. It really isn't hard. Okay, I'm fine. Good. Now, whenever you're ready, we're all waiting for you to complete a very important task.
일단은 거울 한번 봐.
You walk up to the wall next to... What are you talking about? You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. But there was a mirror a second ago, and now it's gone. You know that taking the mirror away from us isn't going to change things, right? We'll find it again, and then we'll see whatever it is that you don't want us to see.
단검을 일단 들고 가고.
You take the blade from the... Okay, fine, you took the knife. But you really shouldn't hold it like that. Then how are we supposed to hold it? The other way, thumb at the bottom. We'll look much cooler and more serious if we hold it with our thumb at the bottom. It really doesn't matter how you hold the blade, as long as you have it. Just make a choice.
아 뭐야? 잡던 대로 잡는다. 역수로 잡는다. 이거에 따라서 공주가 뭔가 보는 눈빛이 다를까? 역수로 잡아봐.
You switch your grip on the blade. Congratulations. Yes! Isn't this so much better? Okay, fine. You're right. This does look a lot better. It really doesn't matter. Just get on with it and deal with the princess already.
창밖에 던진다 뭐야? 아 잠깐만 이런 거 왜 나오는 거야? 못 참는데 이거 던져볼까? 참기가 너무 힘든데?
Yes! Do it! Seriously. You throw the blade at the window, glass showering the cabin as your weapon flies out into the night. We'll be fine, don't worry about it. What's the worst that could happen? The world ends.
이미
Been there,
겪어봤대.
done that. I'm not so sure. This place is already messing with my head. It would be much better if we had a weapon. What's done is done. Good luck, hero.
해설자도 이제 좀 포기했어. 야 지하실
The door to
내려가는데
the
뭐 이렇게 오래
basement
걸려?
creaks open, revealing a web of branching staircases all built from unidentifiable materials. Nothing here seems to belong, and the closer you examine your surroundings, the more confused you get, your head throbbing with the effort of making sense of this place. None of the stairs even seem to go anywhere, let alone down. The air here has a sickening, almost sludge-like miasma to it, the kind of indiscernible quality that comes from the blending together of every scent there is at once. An odour that is simultaneously everything and yet the sum of it all coalescing into a thick, nauseating nothing. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her voice, a disquieting collage of tone and personality, drags up the stairs.
어딘지 어떻게 찾아?
Hello? Hi. What are you doing here?
아니야.
Are you here to...
칼 버렸어. 일단 목소리가 각성한 목소리야. 좀 쌀 것 같으니까 칼을 버리고 온 게 잘한 거일 수도.
No, thank you. Oh, don't be such a baby. I don't want to do this. Let's just turn around and leave. This feels wrong. This feels like a trap. Like whatever we do, we're gonna die. We don't even have a weapon. But we already tried turning around and leaving, didn't we?
and he threw up a wall. No way to go but forward. And whatever choice we make, whatever she is, we know one thing for sure. And what's that? That the fate of the world hinges on your success? There'll still be plenty of ways to ruin his day.
왼쪽에 거친 계단, 중앙 계단, 오른쪽에 부드러운 계단. 뭐냐? 이번에도 왼쪽 가자.
You step to the left. The path is cruel against your feet, the impact of each step sending pulsing vibrations up your legs until there's nothing left in them to feel. The air around you grows cold the further you progress. At first a barely noticeable drop, quickly evolving into a numbing cold. Your toes feel like blocks of ice, your breaths puff out in clouds of condensed vapor. You shudder against it as you continue down the stairway, losing yourself in the bone-deep chill.
뭐죠?
You slowly lose sense of yourself the further you go. Time disappears, and you can feel yourself begin to untether. Physical sensations dull and then vanish, until the only things experienced are the endless repeating patterns and emotions of the journey, a continuous march forward to a destination long forgotten. Consumption and betrayal, skepticism and blind devotion, rivalry and submission, terror and longing, pain and unfamiliarity. And at the heart of it all, an emotion that can only be described as...
Are you just going to stand there?
뭐야?
What the hell was that? What happened to us?
I feel so strange. Like I'm fundamentally different, but also still the same person I was at the top of the stairs. Oh well, that was a trip, but now it's over. Time to get back to our old devilish ways.
The princess, eyes bright but otherwise shrouded in darkness, watches you impatiently from the other side of the basement. Don't forget why you're here.
And why are we here again? In case you weren't listening, I'm afraid I lost myself on the way down. You're here to... He's just being an ass, we remember. Though I'm still not sure if we should trust you. Let's talk to her for a bit, try and get our bearings. She seems normal.
내가 여기 있었는지 몰랐어. 이름이 뭐지? 이곳으로 내려오는 건 길은 이상했어. 마치 내가 찢어졌다가 다시 붙은 느낌이야. 내가 알기로 넌 이유가 있어서 갇힌 거야. 그 이유를 알고 싶어. 넌 세상에 대한 명백한 위협이었고 난 널 죽이기 위해 보내줬어. 있었는지 몰랐어. 일단 이거 한번 해보자.
Yeah, I know. I've been watching you stare at me for a long, long time.
The shadows recede, revealing the princess's face.
I don't think she likes us. Wouldn't you be skeptical of someone stumbling in here if you were her? We lost ourselves the second we stepped into this place. I don't know how long she's been here, but I can't imagine it would be easy for her to trust anyone.
Those eyes, though. They're so sharp. It's just deception. Don't buy into it. You can do this.
It's okay.
뭐야?
Don't worry. Sometimes I get lost here too.
As the princess speaks again, it's almost as if she fractures.
뭐죠?
And where there was once just one of her, there is now another.
We can do that?
I don't like this. It's those cabins all over again. Can we put her back?
You said you'd been here before, right? What exactly happened last time? Does it matter?
Yes, it matters. But I'm not going to waste any more time prying out details if you're going to be so irritating about it. It seems to me like you saw something you weren't supposed to have seen. If only you'd listened to whatever words of wisdom you were given in that other reality.
어쨌든 분열이 돼버렸네?
But what's done is done, isn't it? Whatever you saw last time, unsee it. Whatever thoughts weaseled their way into your head, unthink them. If it's not already too late. You have a new plan. Let's see if we can make even more of her.
네가 늘어났는데? 널 풀어주겠어. 공주를 풀어준다. 네 정체는 모르지만 널 믿을 순 없어. 이거는 왜 한꺼번에 선택할 수 있게 되지? 창밖에 단검을 던진 것을 후회한다. 일단 네가 늘어났는데?
And what's that supposed to mean? Are you trying to get under my skin? There must be something wrong with you. I'm the same as I was a moment ago.
She fractures again. I don't like where this is going. Neither do I. Which is why you need to slay her now before things get more complicated than they already are. How would we even do that? Where would we start? We'd always start by retrieving the blade.
The one he made us throw out the window? I wasn't the one who threw it.
Oh, come on, you told us to.
Don't try to pass the blame now that it's come back to bite us.
Well, if I'd known we'd be dealing with this, maybe I wouldn't have been so hasty with my suggestions.
I don't think we're going to be able to put her back.
Kind of hurts to think about it, doesn't it? It's like everything we say just multiplies her. It certainly looks that way, so please, for the love of everything, stop asking her questions and stop stalling. You're obviously just making things worse.
어떻게 해야 될까? 이걸 한번 물어봐? 이거는 뭐야? 이걸 세 개가 한꺼번에 묶여있지 왜? 한번 이걸 눌러볼까?
Wait, that's not right. Go on. Take a step forward.
뭐야?
Your foot lands, but it lands different. You experience a firm footfall, a gentle tread, a confident stride. You can feel yourself rupture. The room spins, your perception multiplying in a sickening kaleidoscope as your very self is pulled in incomprehensibly many directions. You find the blade suddenly in your hands. All at once you use it to strike at her bindings as you remain upstairs and slay her and leave her to languish alone.
이게 뭐 어떻게 된 거야? 당신은 공주를 죽이고자 단검을 들고 공주를 돌진함과 동시에 공주를 풀어고자 뭐야? 한꺼번에 아 아까 분열이 돼 있는 그 세 개의 각자 행동을 다르게 하는 선택지구나.
But this, we can't. Do you not have anything witty to say? I could use a good bit of wit right now.
No, I don't, because this isn't fun. How are we supposed to have fun if everything is happening at the same time? It's the same as nothing happening, and nothing is excruciating.
Luckily for all of us, nothing and everything doesn't go on forever. The world and the princess collapse in on themselves before it all falls apart.
뭐야?
I think he's gone. We were never going to salvage this, were we?
What happened to us? What are we? There are parts of us that are dead, and the others, they just don't fit. They just don't fit. We can feel them moving around in spaces they don't belong. It's all so uncomfortable. Did you do this? Did we do this? Can you pull us back
아이씨,
apart?
뭐야?
Can you fix us?
We should help her. I think we did this. How surprisingly sincere. I didn't actually think our actions had consequences. It's a little late for regret, isn't it?
Please.
최선을 다해볼게. 널 고치면 안 될 것 같은데. 일단은 최선을 다해볼게. 최선이 저렇게 하는 게 최선인가 봐.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror.
당신은 아무것도 아니다? 뭐야? 하지만 아무것도 아닐 리가 없다. 당신은 다시 집중해서 본다. 그러자 보이기 시작한다. 거울에 비춰지는 건 바로 넘어있는 희미하고 그림자에 가려진 무언가가. 뭔가 까마귀 같은 게 있는데? 넌 나야?
I think you know what I am.
거울의 한가운데 금이 가기 시작한다. 유리에 비친 모습이 둘로 갈라진다. 균열은 점점 더 뻗어나가 결국 깨진 유리파편이 되어 흩어진다. 네가 해설자고 영영 못 버는 건가 생각하고 있었어. 넌 무엇이지 나 비슷한 존재야? 네가 내가 아니라면 넌 뭐지? 내게 묻고 싶은 게 정말 많아. 미안해 널 파괴하고 싶진 않아. 내가 질문을 멈추면 되는 거야? 너는 내 일부 아니면은 뭔가 다른 존재야? 넌 내가 공주를 죽이길 원했지. 이유가 뭐야? 난 널 여러 번 만났는데 그게 전부 너였던 거야? 이 모든 것을 보면 안 됐던 거야? 여긴 어디지? 아 이거 너무 많은데? 이거 하나만 물어봐.
Because among other things, she is death itself. To rid the world of suffering, to save untold trillions from being lost forever to the cosmic wind, she must be destroyed. And despite how far you've fallen, you will still have a chance to fulfill your purpose once I'm gone.
내가 인물을 만들어줬다고 누가 날 만들었지? 난 무엇이지?
You're the long quiet, the god I made to rid the world.
죽음의 세계를 막기 위해 내가 창조한 신? 넌 무엇이지? 나와 비슷한 존재야?
Oh, I'm nothing like you. I'm an echo, likely one of many. Somebody made you after all, and I'm what's left of him. Not that I'm the only one who can make that claim. I'm sure you've met many others like me.
각자 다른 존재.
Of course. That is by both necessity and design. This construct you're in exists in many places at once. Anytime you failed, anytime you thought yourself dead, it would restart and shunt both your consciousness and hers into another world.
그녀의 의식을 다른 세계로 옮기고 재시작한다.
But you'll be awake soon. And then it won't be able to work like that anymore.
더 이상은 그런 식으로 작동하지 않겠죠. 네가 우리에게 저지른 짓이 있는데도 모두가 살 가치가 있다고 생각해? 이걸 한번 물어보자.
I'm aware, and if I were you, I'd be more precious about your time.
아 젠장. 이걸 한번 물어봐. 아니면은 널 수도 없이 만났는데 그때마다 넌 부정했잖아. 왜 내게 거짓말을 했지?
Any other version of me you talked to was just that, a version of me. It wasn't me. As to why they lied, perhaps they thought that admitting to it would have pushed you to certain realizations that would have made finishing your task impossible. Maybe they were just in denial. I'm sure many of them were convinced that they had to be the first version of them you'd encountered. Anything else would have been too existentially unpleasant. And for all I know, each of those other versions of me could have had entirely different understandings of how this construct works. Who's to say which of them are right and which of them are wrong, really? Except for me, I can tell you for a fact that I'm right.
아 그러면은 아니면 죽음을 품고 있다고 했지. 그녀는 무엇이야?
She is the shifting mound, the ebb and flow, the capacity to change. She is transformation, or most of it. Her nature is why I had to die, for she becomes that which others perceive her to be. But an echo can't perceive things, not in the way that people can.
하필 많고 많은 것 중에 공주와 개미라든가 빵 부스러기 같은 건 안 돼. 아, 이건 말이 안 되고. 추상적인 개념을 나보고 어떻게 파괴하라는 거야.
If you need to ask that question, there's nothing I can say to move you. You haven't died. You cannot die. So you cannot grasp the abject horror of dying.
너무 많은데? 이걸 알고 있는 사람이 또 있어? 우리에 대해 알고 있는 사람이 있어?
Of course not. The only way this construct could function was if nobody knew what it was doing. But the bones of the universe are old. It's on the cusp of its dying breath, and the people out there are consumed with thoughts of oblivion. When the patterns are wiped from the sand, when the board is reset, who will remember them? All I've done is give them a chance to live outside of the shadow of the end.
결국에는 공주를 그냥 죽여야 된다고 굳게 믿고 있는 그 그릇을 찾고 있는 그 여자애는 완성되면은 걔가 진짜 세계를 파괴할 수 있는 여자인가? 그녀가 없는 세상은 어떤 세상이야?
Light, burdenless, an eternal pattern of forgetfulness leading into the joys of rediscovery. Everyone will be with the ones they love. No more fear, no more howling chaos. Just life, forever. There's a cruel irony to it all. The only way I could share my dream with the world was to never be able to see it for myself.
마지막이야? 이 시간이 다한 것 같군. 그녀를 죽이지 않을 거야. 네가 완전히 죽기 전에 알려주고 싶어. 어떻게 할지 아직 결정하지 않았어. 이 모든 것에 대한 그녀의 생각을 알아야겠어. 아무 말 없이 그의 최후를 지켜본다. 그냥 지켜보자. 어쩔 수 없다.
I've said my piece, and my time is up. It's like I said, I'm just an echo, and echoes always fade away.
마지막 유리 파편이 깨지자 당신은 새로운 깨달음을 얻는다. 해설자의 말대로 당신은 정막이다. 새로 태동하기 시작한 무한한 신. 그리고 이제 깨어날 시간이다. 이 모든 것이 당신이다. 오두막으로 간다. 당신은 모든 것의 심장부에 도착했지만 그곳에선 마지막 그릇이 없다. 아무것도 보이지 않는다. 뭐냐?
I can finally see you, and you can finally see me.
뭐야, 완전체야?
It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly.
나도 네가 그리웠어. 메아리에 대해 알아? 우리 대화를 들었어? 이걸 한번 물어보자.
Names are their attempts to capture that which cannot be captured.
이름이란 이해할 수 없는 대상을 이해하기 위한 애처로운 시도.
A pale imitation of what I actually am. Every word you spoke found its way to me. I know him, and I know his construct. He was deluded by his fear of death. Pay him no mind.
별로 신경 쓰지 말아야 될 존재로 얘기를 하네. 이제 무슨 일이 일어나지?
Ever the passive player, always reacting and never acting. But it's woven into your nature, isn't it? When the echoes spun us from one into two, he gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes. So, will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation?
아, 이 분기점이가 뭔데? 잠깐만, 세이브 좀 하자. 아직 해결하지 못한 이야기가 너무 많아. 그냥 떠나도 되는 거야? 이 모든 것에 대해 할 말 없어. 왜 나만 이 모든 것 책임을 지는 거야? 대화로 해결해보자. 아직 묻고 싶은 게 많아. 내가 널 보내주면 이 세계는 영원히 끝장이야. 그럴 순 없어. 내가 뭐라던 넌 이렇게 될 운명이었는데 그건 그런데? 그럼 내가 지금까지 한 일의 의미가 있긴 해? 이 순간까지 내가 내려온 결정들이 의미가 있는 거야? 널 파괴하거나 내보내주는 거 말고도 분명 다른 방법이 있을 거야. 이젠 우리가 이곳을 떠날 시간이야. 하지만 어디로 갈지 어떻게 갈지 모르겠어.
If you're saying that, it's because you don't yet understand. But we cannot use words alone to grasp at things that words cannot express. And you cannot rationalize with logic that which defies it. Violence and passion are dances that both of us know well. If this is what it takes
뭐야?
to enlighten you, then so be it. Masses mob you. There is no beginning to them, nor is there an end. There is only the flood of bodies. And every moment you hold every possible sensation at once, and then you hold them all again. And in the end, you returned it to me. For a brief moment, you were everything. A chaos that needed ordering. But without chaos, there is no reason.
그때 널 이해 못했지만 지금은 이해할 것 같아. 넌 고통스러워 보였어. 내가 저지른 짓에 대해 사과할게. 하지만 그럴 수밖에 없었어. 나는 폭력은 상대하지 않아. 이걸 한번 해보자.
I saw with a single pair of eyes what I needed dozens to comprehend. And now here we are, each with millions of eyes, and all of them opening to what we are.
Fear is what pretends to protect us from loss. To fear death protects from losing a body. To fear ruin protects from losing status. To fear rejection protects from being known. But losing a body is contained within having a body. Losing status is contained within having status. Being known is contained within being conscious. It is in the nature of all things to transform, to go from known to hidden to known again. But when the ceaseless impermanence of all things strips away the finality of endings, what remains of fear? Is it a shelter protecting you from itself? Or is it a shelter protecting itself from you?
나를 되게 설득을 하려고 하는 것 같은데.
You took fear by the hand and walked with it into the unknown. And through that, you feared nothing.
그건 두려움에 나온 거절이 아니었어. 넌 내 의지로 나를 망가뜨렸어. 넌 세계를 고통에 빠뜨리고자 했어. 넌 모든 것을 초월한 듯이 행동하지만 실상은 그렇지 않아. 이게 사실 어떻게 보면 맞는 말이긴 하거든? 난 더 이상 두렵지 않아. 두렵지 않지만 다른 이들은 두려움은 진짜야. 우리가 두려움을 초월했다고 해서 다른 이들의 고통을 감내할 이유는 없어. 이해했어. 우린 싸움을 계속할 필요가 없어. 너와 함께 보낼게. 이걸 한번 해보자.
A desire born from the narrow view of a single life. But even then, the only gifts I brought were context and sensation. To feel is to exist, and to exist is to have meaning. Your little hair strikes a stake into your body, and another, and another, and another. Do I miss your heart because I can't stand to see it go? But the stakes meant nothing to you. You had a desire, and you set that desire free. You lifting me and me lifting you. Forever and ever and ever. Consumed by true belief, there was nothing that could hold us back.
난 그때 감정에 눈이 멀어 있었어. 우리가 그걸 모두 알고 있잖아. 난 그 감정을 다시 원해. 난 언제나 그 감정을 간직하고 있었어. 나는 폭력은 상대적이지 않아. 이해했어. 우린 싸움을 계속할 필요가 없어. 이거는 그냥 항복을 하는 거고, 지금 아까 얘랑 얘기했던 감정을 나한테 호소하는 것 같은데, 이거를 한번 해보자. 이거는 항복하는 거랑 비슷한 거 같고.
We were both taken by the moment. It was how things are meant to be. To question everything is to deny the proof of reality that lies in front of you. By believing in your suffering, you make your suffering real. In believing in your limitations, you placed a shackle on your neck. But even then, you remembered the impermanence of the material and watched as the walls of your prison decayed into nothing.
내가 행동했던 거에 대해서 계속 얘가 다 읊네. 그러면은 행동의 결과가 엔딩에 영향을 미치는 건가?
To be impermanent is not to end, but to change. And for the world to be impermanent is to make finite the suffering of all things. Would you strip that gift away and leave them all to suffer in their permanence?
그들은 극복할 거야. 언젠가 불멸이 축복임을 알게 될 거야. 극복을 해야지.
Or, in time, would they see it as a curse? Brutality splashes you against the walls, but with stubborn defiance you rise again. And with the dance of our conflict, I was brought somewhere new. Without you, my world would have been so small. Do you remember the moment of your triumph? Do you remember the feeling of your blade finally cutting me down? My defeat was a gift. Without obstacles to overcome, we stagnate into nothing.
힘들게 해서 얘를 죽였잖아. 근데 그게 나에 대한 선물이었다고 얘기를 하네. 우리 모두 그 싸움으로 인해 성장했지 안 그래? 침체가 그렇게 나쁜 거야? 고통과 잔혹함 없이는 이미 또한 존재할 수 없는 거야? 난 다른 이들을 지키기 위해 너와 싸운 거야. 날 위해서가 아니라. 나는 폭력은 상대하지 않아. 성장했지. 아니야, 이걸 한번 해보자.
And yet you changed regardless. Your perspective widened.
당신과 그녀의 갈등이 가라앉자 공주가 온화해진 표정으로 미소를 짓는다.
Nothing is immutable. Everything that is exists only in relation to everything it isn't.
갈등이 해소된 것처럼 됐나 보네.
There is no constant. There is no center. Open your eyes and accept what we are. We can leave this prison together.
모든 것에 위에 서 있다 보면 자신의 생각만이 옳다고 착각하기 쉬워져. 난 떠날 준비가 됐어. 난 원래 너와 싸우고 싶지 않았어. 그건 놔둘 수 없어. 모든 것이 죽게 둘 수 없어. 공주를 죽인다. 더 나은 세상을 위해 싸워야만 해. 정말 미안해. 이게 왜 다 다르지? 아, 이거 저장이다. 한번 죽여볼까? 근데 이걸 한번 얘기해보자. 자기가 다 맞다고 얘기를 하는 거잖아.
It is from my vantage point that I can see the totality of truth.
약간 좀 거만한 느낌이 있는데 우리가 여길 떠나면 뭐야? 죽일 수밖에 없네. 더 나은 세상을 위해 싸워야만 해. 이렇게? 한번 이렇게 죽여보자.
Then try to destroy me if you can. But I will not yield easily to your delusion.
You don't have to face her alone.
뭐야? 이 목소리가 얼마나 반가운지 꿈에도 모를 거야. 나 혼자 할 수 있어. 다른 모두는 어디 갔어?
They're still where you left them, stuck in the folds of this place. Part of me is with them, just like part of me is with you right now. There's still a piece of me nestled close to where it all began. I can take you there. I can take you to her heart.
It's time to resume our dance.
She's relentless, isn't she? Let's make this quick. Are you ready?
준비됐어?
Then let's go.
뭐야?
here we are. I'd say we were back where it all started, but I guess it's a little after that, isn't it? Do you need me to describe things?
진짜 심장 아닌가 보다. 그거 전에 옛날 느낌 나잖아. 여긴 너와 나뿐이야? 오두막에 도착한 다른 녀석은 없어? 해설자는 정말 사라진 거야? 해설자는 사라진 걸 내가 봤잖아. 뭐 물어볼 필요는 없는 것 같고. 단검을 가져와?
That's probably for the best. It's always seemed to give us more options than not.
It's just us. I think the rest of them are still out there, jumbled up in the rest of her.
혹시 아까 내 말대로 상황을 묘사해 줄 수 있어? 옛날 느낌 나게 말이야. 뭐 딱히 듣고 싶진 않고요.
The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here? The first time we heard her voice?
We both know why you're here. You don't have to draw it out for my sake.
It sounded just like that. A little sharp, a little menacing. Only she didn't know us. And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are,
웃겨있지도 않네.
knife in hand. That sight brings me back. You're going to do it then, aren't you? You're really going to kill me. You'll have all of eternity to yourself after this. Why don't we chat a little before I go?
아, 이런 고민되네. 잠깐만, 저장해보자. 그냥 죽여볼까? 일단 앉아봐. 난 신이 되고 싶지 않아. 넌 바깥의 저것과 같은 존재야? 내가 죽이려 했던 건 저 바깥의 존재뿐이야. 추상적인 개념은 사람보다 죽이기 쉬우니까. 난 아무도 해치고 싶지 않아. 분명 방법이 있을 거야. 난 처음부터 널 죽이고 싶지 않았어. 하지만 네 존재가 세상에 끼치는 영향이 걱정돼. 이젠 어쩌지. 널 죽여야 하는 현실이 싫지만 내게 선택권이 그렇게 많지 않아. 미안해. 좀 방법이 있지 않을까?
Well, I don't want to be at the end of that knife, so how about we figure something out?
What if we tried doing this forever? I can do whatever you think I can, right? So, make me put it all back. Make me fix the Echo's construct and make me wipe our memories of everything that's happened.
아, 그러면 처음으로 되돌아가자는 거야?
Make me send us back to the beginning, before we woke up. Before either of us saw the truth.
그건 좀...
Can she really do that? Are you sure that's what you want?
그거는 좀... 처음부터 되돌려서 진실을 알지 못하게끔 그냥 시작점으로 가자는 건데 그건 아닌 것 같은데? 결국 여기로 돌아오게 될 거야. 이게 맞는 말 같아? 되돌리는 것이 저 바깥에 있는 사람에게도 도움이 될까? 아, 그렇지. 결국 돌아오게 되겠지. 아, 이렇게 진행하는 것도 있네? 공주의 계획에 동의한다? 그냥 죽이는 거는 너무 간단하잖아. 이걸 한번 해볼까?
Okay, if this is your choice, then I have your back. I guess I'll see you on the other side. She takes the blade from our hand, a fondness in her gaze.
사랑에는 뭐야? 빠르게 끝나. 다시 만날 거야. 다시 만날 거야.
Hey, I love you.
아. 에?
You're on a path in you're here
챕터
to
1으로
slay her.
돌아왔잖아. 조용히 오두막에 간다? 뭐야? 아, 그래, 이게 공주가 얘기했던 대로 그렇게 됐네. 그러니까 처음부터 시작점으로 돌아간 거야. 이게 엔딩이네. 아, 이게 반복 엔딩이네. 아, 오케이. 그럼 뭔 엔딩인지 알았고. 그럼 죽이면 어떻게 될까? 죽여보자.
So this is it then. Let's see this through.
So, that's how it is. Whatever world you want to build without me, I hope it works out. Despite our differences, I've always loved you, and I wish you nothing but the best.
진짜 사랑했나봐. 눈을 깜빡이자 공주는 사라진다. 남은 것은 당신의 심장 한구석에 자리 잡은 작고 슬픈 약간의 무게뿐이다. 당신의 공주가 탄생했던 순간 둘은 서로의 조각을 서로의 일부분으로서 간직했다. 당신이 그녀를 완전히 파괴함으로써 당신은 자신의 일부 또한 파괴했다. 그러나 세계는 멸망하지 않았다. 계속된다.
She's gone. And I don't think she's coming back.
맞아, 돌아오지 않아. 그녀의 작은 조각이 우리 안에 남았어. 어떻게 된 거지? 오두막을 떠난다. 그냥 뭐 딱히 의미가 있는 대답은 아닌 것 같아. 떠나봐. 당신은 지하실을 뒤로 하고 떠난다. 그리고 계단을 오른다. 오두막을 나선다.
It's quiet here.
바깥의 숲과 길은 텅 빈 캔버스가 되어 있다. 하지만 무언가가 더 있다. 당신의 고난이 맺은 열매, 죽음으로써 해방된 세계이다. 자신을 해방한다? 고대 생명체인 당신의 육체가 긴 동면을 깨어난다. 한때는 존재하는지도 몰랐던 팔과 다리가 느껴진다. 여기 있는 모든 것이 당신이다. 당신은 우주적인 규모의 날개를 느낀다. 그러나 유한한 공간 속에 구겨지고 뒤틀려 고통스럽게 묶여있다. 당신은 구성체가 당신에게 좁혀오는 것을 느낀다. 당신의 무한한 몸을 유한하게 만들려고 하고 있다. 당신은 저항한다. 그러나 밀어낼 수 없다.
He's gone. She's gone. No one is left to trap us here but us.
심장을 열고 당신의 새로운 왕국을 목도한다. 일순간 밀리지 않던 장벽이 한꺼번에 부서진다. 산산이 부서진다. 당신은 자유롭다. 당신의 앞에는 무한한 절대적 현실의 지대가 펼쳐져 있다. 당신의 손을 수없이 피로 물들인 고난의 순환 끝에 당신의 의지로 만들어낸 새로운 절대적 현실이다. 그러나 새로운 세계에는 더 이상 피를 흘릴 일이 없을 것이다.
I knew we'd finally see it through. All it takes to be a winner is grit and determination.
This is nice. No more hunting. No more running. Just us. And whatever's out there.
Absolute reality. Who would have thought there was really a world outside of
그럼
us?
바깥 세계가 나온 거야?
Who would have thought we'd actually wind up siding with him?
The whispering and the coercion and the bickering. Everything horrible about being alive has stopped.
I hope this was all worth it, because I'm personally inconsolable.
그러면은 해설자가 얘기한 현실이 이거네? 공주를 진짜 죽인 평화?
Forever to get over it. Here, here, to our vanquished foe.
Well then, I guess the only thing left to do is figure out what happens next.
아, 이게 또 끝이네, 엔딩. 그러면은 한번 다른 방법이 없나? 이거를 칼을 두고 가보자 그러면. 근데 칼을 들고 가는 선택지가 있었어 애초에?
And here we are. Do you...
아, 들고 간 선택지가 있었네. 지하실에 내려가 그냥.
No blade it is. I'm not sure what we'll be able to do without it, but your judgment has gotten us this far. The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here?
Have you figured out what you want to do yet, or are you going to keep trying to find a center that doesn't exist?
It sounded just like that. A little sharp, a little menacing. Only she didn't know us. And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are.
무기는 없구나.
Hands empty. So you don't feel like recreating our first meeting
우리의
detail
첫
for
만남을
detail.
완전히 똑같이 재현할 생각은 없나 보네. 아, 첫 만남은 내가 무기를 들고 갔잖아. 그래서 이렇게 얘기하는 것 같은데?
Maybe there's still room for us to chat before the final curtain call. What do you say?
선택지가 좀 많이 없네? 우리 그냥 떠나는 게 어때? 내 생각에 우리에게 남은 길은 떠나는 것뿐이야.
Do you know where this cabin is? Because I don't. I don't even know what's supposed to be outside other than us. What would even happen if we leave? What would that even mean?
공주의 손을 잡는다. 난 원래부터 너와 함께 떠나고 싶었어. 신이 되고 싶지 않아. 그냥 우리인 채로 이 오두막 문을 나서고 싶어. 너와 나 단둘이서. 이 무슨 의미인지 모르기 때문에 하고 싶은 거야. 우린 거의 모든 것을 알고 있지만 이것만은 알지 못해. 난 새로운 것을 알고 싶어. 그게 무슨 의미인지는 중요하지 않아. 중요한 거는 우리가 함께 떠난다는 거야. 그게 내가 원하는 전부야. 이걸 한번 해봐야 될 것 같은데?
I guess when you put it that way, I want that too.
I think I'm gonna stay right here. Whatever you're doing right now, wherever you're going, it feels like it's for just the two of you.
혼자 남아도 괜찮겠어? 전부 고마워. 정말 같이 가지 않아도 되겠어? 전부 고마워.
Don't mention it. Thanks for making all the hard choices along the way.
공주와 함께 떠난다. 당신이 앞장서고 공주가 뒤를 따라 나간다. 둘은 마지막으로 지하실을 떠난다. 계단을 올라가자 평소엔 폭력과 위협과 목소리들로 가득했던 공간에 편안한 정적이 흐른다. 하지만 그 정적에는 무언가 힘이 담겨있다. 미지에 대한 기대감이다. 계단의 끝에서 공주가 멈춰선다. 시선은 오두막 문을 향해 고정되어 있다. 그녀의 몸이 경직된 것이 보인다. 공주의 짧고 긴 삶들의 여정 속에서 그녀는 처음으로 자신을 확신하지 못한다. 그녀는 더 이상 맡아야 할 역할이 없다. 그럼에도 그녀는 아직 공주이다. 이내 그녀는 문을 향해 나아간다. 당신은 그녀의 들뜬 발걸음을 뒤따라간다.
This is it. I have no idea what it's going to be like out there. Not that I'm scared or anything. It's exciting, really. Anything could happen. And if it's bad, then it won't be bad. Not with you.
누가 열어야 될까? 준비됐어. 이 앞에 무슨 일이 기다리고자 아무도 몰라. 이것도 멘트 던져주자. 어쩔 수 없다.
I love you too. But I'm trying not to be sappy about it. Don't make me get all emotional.
와, 씨, 뭐지? 감동 엔딩이네. 근데 약간 열린 결말이긴 한데 그래도 엔딩이 엄청 많은가 보네. 엔딩은 뭐 이 정도까지만 보면 될 것 같은데? 더 이상 보면은 너무 많을 것 같다. 어쨌든 해피엔딩까지는 봤는데 뭔가 선택에 따라서 좀 방향이 많이 바뀌는 것 같은데 나머지 엔딩은 여러분들이 구매하셔서 봐주시면 될 것 같아요. 네, 슬레이더 프린세스 게임 재밌었고요. 게임은 여기까지 할게요.